Greetings and welcome to Unveiling Reality. How's everybody doing this evening? Hope you're all doing and living well. Let me start out this awesome show by saying thank you to all those amazing people in the winner's circle that make it happen. Thank you to each and every one of you for being members. And a special thanks to Shelly and Wolfram, who support us over on Rumble as well. We are broadcasting live tonight, of course, on Rumble, X, and YouTube. And away we go. Tonight on Unveiling Reality, we will dive deeper and deeper into the UFO alien rabbit hole, now known as the UAP NHI a rabbit hole, I guess, whatever they want to call it. They can call it that because it's all one big old thing, isn't it? We will take a look at the latest from Dr. Stephen Greer. He's appeared on a notable podcast, the PBH, what's the PBH? PBD, the PBD podcast, aka Patrick Bet Davis. Yes, he's out chasing clout with bigger name interviews to try to get in front of more people with his baloney. But I watched some of this. It's a long interview. I don't know if we'll get through the whole thing. We'll get through as much as we can of it. And in some cases, Patrick stuck it to him a little bit and drilled down some questions that we've had as well. So it should be interesting. At the same time, I question, why do you even have this grifter on your podcast? I don't know. But we'll see what kind of questions he can hardball. If he does hardball a lot of them, I know at least one of them he's going to drill down on. That is the questionable $2 billion that he received. And also, or that he was offered, let's put it that way. Also, we're going to start out this evening by taking a look at the Ross Coulthart NewsNation narrative. And these are two narratives that are running side by side, probably the two most prominent narratives right now that are rolling out there. And we're going to take a look at Ross's reaction to Trump's announcement that the drones were easily explainable and nothing to be worried about, and a lot of mass hysteria really blown up by the press and then used as a mini crisis to manufacture consent for more government oversight and technology rollouts to benefit companies. I guess the establishment, the corrupt establishment that was previously in charge, what would benefit them, I guess, things that they wanted to get done. They couldn't get done because of privacy concerns. Rand Paul stood in the way, and that didn't go very well for them. And it probably won't go very well for them going forward, but they gave it one last try, didn't they? But yeah, we'll see how they're reacting. He had on a police chief from Nebraska named Chris Grooms, and that mayor guy, the mayor. You never trust the mayor, guys. Never trust the mayor. And like, what's the guy's name? Mayor Michael Melham from Belleville. Remember, he's the guy that came out and was telling us that it was they were looking for radioactive material, and at the same time, the story was debunked as a mishap at FedEx. Because FedEx is always shipping around radioactive material that is could be used to destroy America. Yeah, because that's what they do. That's what they do. So anyways, we're going to see those guys' reaction as well. Another news coming out today. Let's see, how many hours ago was this? Was this today? Or yeah, it was today's the 5th or 4th. Today's the 5th. So yesterday, that Greer announced that he sent his 320-page pile of crap, his grift, the 320-page grift out to President Trump, and that you can now go view that on his website. And so I think that what we'll do is because we won't have time to browse that tonight, that'll be saved for next week, or it definitely won't be this Sunday, because this Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. And if you don't know, that's the team I'm rooting for right there. Back to today, the thing about the Super Bowl coming up is my team gets to be the heroes. We are the Rockies, of course, because Philly is the Rocky town. We are Rocky. We are getting off the mat after our last Super Bowl defeat to the Kansas City Chiefs to be the hero and win the title. And so expect a beautiful, awesome Sunday, and now we're back with a whole new game plan and an amazing running back and a set of amazing receivers that might just be the answer to the ongoing and never ending Kansas City reign. So if you're in Kansas City, then good game to you. If you're a Chiefs fan, good game to you. But get ready for a fight because we're coming to win. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. All right. But yeah, probably next week we'll go through I'll figure out how to go through the 320 pages in a way. Probably ask my friends, my artificial intelligence friends, to help me out there on that one. But we'll go through it and we'll see what kind of BS he's trying to dump into our president's ears. Our president is too busy kicking ass and taking names for a bunch of baloney. So we'll see what he says. He's going to mention it on this podcast with David Patrick tonight, and he's going to talk about that as well. And he's, I have a feeling, and I'll talk about it as we go through. I have a feeling Greer is a little bit on the establishment side as far as his politics go. He has certain tells, and I'll go through that as we get in it. But let me say hello to this awesome crowd. Heidi, how you doing? Thank you for posting these over on Rumble. And Wolfram, my friend, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for posting these links. And remember, guys, when you are here, to always listen to the wolf. He wipes his paws, he lopes in, and he howls. And that's how you know the alpha mod is in the house. All right. Who else we got out here in the crowd tonight? We got T-Rex Trucking and more. Welcome to the world, Neocon Don. Okay. Neocon Don. What is that supposed to mean? I don't know what he's talking about. Does anybody know what that guy's talking about? He might be high on trucker speed. I don't know. Snipe, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you over there on the Rumble side. Thank you for being here. There's Levy. Levy, what's going on? Howdy, Levy. How you doing? Saying hello to the crowd. And, of course, there's Shelly talking trash and truths. She is out there giving out big hugs and so on. Hello, my peeps. There she is. As everybody comes in. She's our hostess with the mostest. Does the mostest, is the hostess. And she is here with us tonight. As always. What else we got? And who else we got out there in the crowd? All right. So that's my VIPs in the front row right there. Oh, okay. You want to talk a little politics to get started? He says, Donald Trump's out there saying we're going to occupy Gaza. What the hell? I thought we were America first. We are America first. What does that have to do with it? Occupy Gaza. We're going to help rebuild it so people have a place to live. We're being humanitarian in the right way, and we're keeping it under our control. We're not just shoveling a bunch of money out the door. And believe me, if Trump's doing it, it's going to benefit America in a way. He understands he's doing it with our money, and so it has to come back and has to benefit us. Everything he says over and over again is this has to be co-beneficial, right? Co-beneficial. And this will be co-beneficial because think about how much money and aid and everything else we've sent, how much these wars that are going on, how much protest is going on, how much it all is going on around this conflict that's never ending. And even in his press conference, which we covered last night, he talked about that, how it keeps going around in circles, and we need to figure out a way to break the cycle. And only a Sith deals in absolutes, T-Rex. Only a Sith does. But no, there is a way, and we'll screenshot that right there, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it once we get done. But that's what I'm thinking tonight, right there. Trump resort to Gaza. That's what I'm thinking, man. Yep, he's going to rebuild it so people can actually live there. Have you seen the photos of Gaza Strip? It is rubble. And they expect people to live there. And these socialists that are out there marching, going free Palestine, free, all this stuff. These people that are out there doing all this stuff, they don't give a shit about the people over there. All they care about is the oppressor narrative of socialism, because they really want to take down capitalism. That's really what their whole thing is. That's why they support Hamas, who doesn't support them, who would throw them off a building as soon as look at them, right? They want nothing to do with them. And so now you're going to see those people trying to pivot to the immigrants. So that's what they're going to do. it's always just that narrative, and they're always just as they are figuratively, figuratively and literally wearing masks. And the figurative mask is the mask of virtue, which they do not have. Our agenda is always to destroy capitalism, because they are brainwashed, mind controlled, Marxist, ideologically subverted people, and they have they're boxed into a narrative of their own demise, really. So yeah, but I get it. You can be upset about it if you want to, buddy, but it's like bring them back home. You're a total isolationist. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I don't know that is. I agree with that in terms of a good strategy. America first. We can be America first and fight authoritarianism and Marxism across the world, because if we don't, it just comes back generations later. And we know all this, right? We talk about this all the time, the generational warfare. But here you go. Have a Snickers bar. All right. And believe me, like Shelley's saying, Gaza used to be a huge tourist attraction. It did. It wasn't always rumble, and a lot of folks had very nice houses and things there. And now it's a complete disaster, right? And whatever it is, give it. I would say this: if you're freaking out about it, give it some time. Let it cook for a minute. All right. Don't jump the shark on it. Don't jump the shark. Give it a minute, and let's see what comes out of it, because you might find that it turns out to be something very good for us and the entire world. And one thing, it'll keep the conflicts over there. Hopefully, it'll start to settle some things out. Remember, we had the Abraham Accords, and I'm sorry I'm off topic right now, but T-Rex is a friend and trying to calm him down. I don't want him driving off the road or doing anything crazy. But we got how much money and time and effort and everything else has been put into trying to keep that region of the world under control from going completely haywire. And I get it. I'm halfway with you, T-Rex, on it, but I'm halfway on the other side of we need to not let the assholes win. So we'll see. Okay, so I got to move on from that, but we can talk more about that tomorrow night if you want. All right. Hey, what's up? How you doing, Angry Conservative? Happy to see you back. Happy to see your channel back. Glad you're here, guys. We are just introing night right now. We're going to get to the main stories here in a second. If you're on the rewatch crew, thank you so much for being part of the rewatch crew and getting 14 minutes into the stream, waiting for the action to happen. It's going to happen soon because we got a lot to cover tonight. I mean, a lot. And we got two different things we need to look at because we're covering two different narratives. These now what they're calling the UAP NHI narratives. We'll just call them that. Originally the UFO alien rabbit hole. I still think that's the grandfathered in name for everything. So we'll keep that too. We'll keep both names. All right. We'll 10-4, good buddy. All right, cool. All right. What's your 1020 there, T-Rex? What's your 1020? All right. So like I was saying, next week we'll do the 320 pages of Dr. Greer's babble. But tonight we're going to dig in deeper to his script, and we're going to see what Patrick Bet-Davis has to say when he's on the show. And again, I'm surprised. I guess, I mean, I'd have him on too, but he wouldn't like it. Like it's Stephen Greer, I'd have him on too, but he wouldn't like it. We wouldn't get very far, would we? I'd be picking things apart. I'd be like, here's everything that we're going to question about your narrative tonight, sir. I hope you're ready for it. And we're going to be applying the trivium, and we're going to be doing things like that as we go through it, because, and for people out there who love Stephen Greer and want to come here and immediately down the video or say that because I'm not bending my knees and bending over to his narrative and believing everything he says on his word. All right, things you should know about Dr. Stephen Greer. He's worth $6.6 million, right? He didn't get that by being an emergency room doctor. All right, he was only an emergency room doctor for 10 years, right? He went to a mid-grade party kind of school called Appalachian State, which I'm familiar with, up there in the mountains of North Carolina. He believes he was abducted after a near-death experience where he saw aliens. He then was, according to him, meditating in a field up in the mountains there some months later, and believes he was abducted by aliens. And he then co-created a communication, a contact protocol with them, right? Like they needed it because he was already on the ship. They'd already contacted him and they knew how to find him, but somehow they have to sit down and co-create this in there. This is the origins of him, right? And what you need to know is from these origins, from being a struggling doctor, right? He's become a multi-millionaire. So while you sit there, right? And you wonder how you're going to pay your bills, and you worry about the price of groceries and gas and other things that normal people like us have to deal with. This guy is a multi-millionaire who sits there spinning a story that for decades has never come through. He seems to think that he's some kind of savior, yet he hasn't saved anything. It's through administration after administration of submitting paperwork, supposedly debriefing people, supposedly meeting with people all over the world. Nothing has ever come of it. And I want you to realize this. If this guy has you convinced that he's the real deal and everything he's saying is true, and it's just other people standing in the way, I want you to understand that if he's scripting you, he's abusing you, and you deserve better than that. And that's what we discuss here on the channel. And that's where we dive down in these rabbit holes and we take them line by line. And we say, does his words as he skips through it and does these stories and goes on these tangents and tends to avoid questions, right? And you'll see some of this tonight too. Is he trustworthy? Not a lot of it points to the fact that he is. Just because he gathers up a bunch of other people who are willing to do the same thing he does doesn't mean that he has any real evidence. In fact, he talks about his evidence, but rarely, if ever, shows it. And when he does, it's a major disappointment. Kind of like the Jake Barber interview with Ross Coulthart over on NewsNation, a parallel narrative that Greer insists that he's part of, yet nobody mentions his name. And he seems to have a very a poor opinion of Ross and NewsNation to the point where he won't even mention their names. Now, he's been on NewsNation way back, but Ross doesn't want him involved, and those people he says he's involved with don't seem to know that he's there. So these are the questions we need to ask to make sure that people that are buying into it, or maybe just really want aliens to be real, maybe just really want something different. Maybe they want that 0 point energy he's promising and a bright future of surplus, which we all really want because we're not multimillionaires like Steven, right? We're all trying to get there, trying to get to a place of stability and surplus in our lives. Maybe you need to take a second look at it, and that's what you can do here freely, without judgment. As we always, I always say, I'm not here to confirm your bias, but I'm here with you to walk to the very reality-based truth that there is about topics like this. And so we do that by careful analysis, right? So be brave if you are falling into that rabbit hole and you believe that everything he's saying is real. Be brave. Stay here with us. Walk through this investigation with us. You're part of it too, right? And believe me, a lot of people at some point did kind of buy into stuff, and then when you start looking closer, you realize that it doesn't deserve your trust, and you kind of back out of it, right? So, what's up, Memento? How you doing? That's the high level of it, right? That's the high level of it. I get it. If you really want it to be true, I want excitement. I want sci-fi. I want futuristics things too. I want something. I want to know the answers too, right? That's what got me here. That's what got me to understand his content, and I've known his content for decades now, and that's why I can get up here and speak about it and share root cause analysis techniques with people as we go through piece by piece and listen to what he has to say. And it's all up to him, isn't it? In the end, it's all up to him and the words he puts out and the stories he tells, as to his legitimacy. So we're going to go down that, and we keep exploring it, and people seem to enjoy it. So, as long as it's out there and it provides value for you, I'll be here for it to do it for you. But we're going to start out this evening, and let me go ahead and cue this up. We're going to start out this evening by revisiting newbie to the scene, newbie to the conspiracy, the UFO alien conspiracy scene, Ross Coulthart, who probably is making a lot of money himself, on NewsNation, getting clicks and views for the company, by bringing out these this going down the alien UFO or UAP NHI rabbit hole as well. Let's see what you got here. Greer comes up with full-length interview and the Jesse Michaels interview with Jake Barber. It comes up in that. All right, cool. Good to know. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Jesse Michaels, which one's that? When did that come up? You got my Discord, Levy. Throw me a link. Let's take a look at that. That sounds good. We're going to go through this first, and then we'll come back and circle back to that, because that's one of the questions open-mindedly we are looking at in terms of this investigation, right? And as I put in the description, I was like, we're still asking the question: is Greer really connected to these guys? Why hasn't he been involved in the NewsNation interviews? Why hasn't anything he said yet come to light fully? And we hadn't, to this point, until Levy just said something, we haven't heard anything about him being part. He's definitely not a big part of it. He'll go into some of that tonight too in his interview. So I'm going to save it for that. And we'll go ahead and move on right now to our first part of the show, where Ross Coulthart is bringing back the New Jersey mayor to respond to Trump saying that, hey, look, man, I told you we knew what it was, and here's what it is. And when when he promised that on the campaign trail before the election, I said, what's going to happen when the people who want what they're thinking to be true find out that they were wrong, and the official that Trump, coming out to give, the most transparent president in history, probably, comes out and gives you the facts, the answers. What are they going to say? I anticipated that they would not cope well with it. So let's go ahead and find out what's going on here. Let me make sure I got this at winning speed. Okay, I do. And away we go.
Oh, and welcome to Reality Check. I'm your host, Ross Coulthart. Well, what a week. I can hardly believe the pace of developments. We've just had a statement from the White House where they've, for the first time,
circling back a little bit, just
statement on the drones,
see how they're coping with it.
Objects that have been buzzing the skies of not only New Jersey, but pretty much the entire east coast of...
Hang on a second. I got to do something here. Let me fix this real quick. I think what happens is I get the screen gets a little bit off. Why are we all the way here? We should be right here. All right. And then this line comes down at the bottom of the screen. I don't know why it's doing this again. Like, it stopped doing it, and I don't know why it's doing it again. Let me show you what I'm talking about. See that line down there? It's like it's the thing right here. It's this thing. And I don't know why it's doing it. No. Okay. Sorry. Is it gone away? Oh, it's back. Okay, so this is like a StreamYards thing then. For some reason they have this fixed and now they don't. So I'm like all about the aesthetics of it, and it just drives me crazy. But let's get started. Sorry about that. Let's go.
We've just had a statement from the White House where they've, for the first time, given a definitive statement on the drones, the mystery objects that have been buzzing the skies of not only New Jersey, but pretty much the entire east coast of the USA, the entire continent, and much of the planet. But if you believe the White House, it's all explainable. And apparently it was authorized. These were drones that were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Let's take it.
Do you guys know what that means, right? I mean, I don't have to explain that the FAA can approve like commercial ventures. There's a lot of people out there that are using drones to make a living now. So that's what they mean. It's nothing more sinister or interesting than that. It's really just, okay, yeah, the FAA approves a lot of things, right?
A quick listen to the statement from the White House earlier today.
Before I turn to questions, I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office from President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy. A statement from the President of the United States.
And that's just really important to him to say.
Okay, you've heard that statement from the White House. I now want to give you the opportunity to rehear what was said by the Defense Department back in December. There are two statements that were made by the Defense Department on both the 11th and the 17th of December. So here we go.
Thanks, General Ryder. So back to the drones. Can
Pre-election.
you unequivocally say that none of the drones that are being spotted?
Okay, so why is he going back in time here? Why is he going back in time? Is he trying to see? This is the thing, right? He's as soon as somebody doesn't tell you what you want to hear when you're trying to run on a belief system, right? At least with these guys, right? What they're going to do is try to find ways that it's not that what they heard isn't right, even though they're getting it from the most transparent president in history.
Spotted are DoD assets or something that's being tested within the Defense Department. Are all of these either civilian or otherwise, but just not Department of Defense drones?
You're talking about the drones in New Jersey up and down the, yes, they are not DoD assets.
None of them are.
To my knowledge, none of them are.
Okay.
Yeah, none of them are, because DoD assets don't have FAA lighting on them.
And are there any sort of experimental programs going on where maybe drones are being tested?
To my knowledge, no.
What about the ones that are flying over military bases at this point?
There you go.
Have
That's
there
better.
been any possibilities of
I
collecting
like the way
what
she broke that up.
sort of information these drones are doing or anything like that?
Yeah, again, just to kind of put this into context, and I know that our colleagues at the White House, FAA, DHS, FBI have all made this point. So over 1 million drones registered in the United States, and on any given day, approximately 8,500 drones are, in flight. And so the vast majority of these drones are going to probably be recreational or hobbyist. They're going to be commercial drones, used in things like architecture, engineering, farming.
There you go.
Or they could be used for law enforcement. Is it possible that some of those drones could be up to malign activity? It's entirely possible, but the vast majority, that is not, the case. And in the case of drones flying near or over U.S. military installations, that in and of itself, just given the volume of drone flights we see on a given day, is not something that's new. We take all of those seriously. We will typically, when we detect them, attempt to classify them and take appropriate measures. Is it possible that some of those are surveilling? Absolutely. But can you make that assumption in every case? Not necessarily. So in each case, commanders have the authority, installation commanders and authorities have the authority to respond appropriately, and we'll continue to do that.
Can you rule out that these are American drones or U.S. military drones?
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
Representative Andrew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones.
We debunked that one right away.
Off the east coast of the United States. Is there
that was easily debunked?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
Now, in my book, it's absolutely clear that the statements made by the Pentagon in December categorically contradict what has been said today by the White House. There's an old saying.
How's that? Did you guys get that impression? Did you guys get that impression? I looked over to the right, like you guys were looking at me from the chat here. That's how long I've been doing this. I got streamer derangement. Do you guys think that that's true? Do you think that they uncategorically contradicted Trump said himself, he says, like, I don't know why they're not giving you guys all the information. So how is it a contradiction when he comes out and he crosses the T's and dots the I's? That's exactly right. Of course, he has, like I said, this is about the cope. It's about cope, man. You're going to see some coping going on.
In my line of work, that the cover-up is often worse than the actual conspiracy. And in this
Your
case,
line of
you
work,
really have
really?
to question what on earth is going on. I've been talking to people in New Jersey, New York, Long Island for a long time now. And whatever these visitors are, they've been around since Thanksgiving and Christmas. And
every year, buddy, every year. Yeah,
they're the guests that never left. I'd like to now bring in the mayor of Belleville Township in New Jersey, Mayor
New
Michael
Jersey.
Melham.
Yes,
So,
Michael,
Mr. Mayor,
the guy who came out and said it was looking for a radioactive material and then was debunked the exact hour he was giving the interview about it because he's very clueless. He's a clueless mayor from never trust the mayor.
you've seen those quotes from the White House and then the Pentagon. They do appear to contradict each other. What's your take on what's going on and what's your view on the drones crisis?
I mean, it's disappointing. You know, here on the ground as mayors, there are 500 mayors strong here in New Jersey. We are the closest to the ground.
500 mayors in New Jersey.
Sadly, our federal government.
Yeah, and you don't have them because you're just Joe Schmo from down the street who can get elected as a mayor, right? With no real talent, other than to smooze people and to make promises and do like backhanded, dirty, behind the scene deals with people. That's, like I said, never trust the mayor.
It's failing us. Our state government is failing us. I mean, come on, just listen to that most recent statement. We've been waiting now, what, 8 days for disclosure on.
And they didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. What? We're waiting 8 days for disclosure, and you didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. New Jersey, do better. Do better than this clown. I mean, seriously, this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
This matter, and we're told that the drones that were flying, past tense, were flying. Last night, there were multiple drones over my house. So I don't know what they're talking about when they say were flying. And then they're flying for other various reasons. What could the other various reasons be? We have.
They just told you what they were. Like the guy, the military dude told you what they were, man. I mean, why don't you do some research? I did it. You can go out right now, guys. You can go out on YouTube and find all kinds of YouTube channels that are specifically about using drones for business and make money with drones. Shelly and I watched one the other night about this guy who was using it to survey houses and on housing construction, right? For people that are out of state and they're developers, right? And they want to see how the progress of their property is coming along. Are the contractors doing their job? Is things moving along at the right pace? So they have a website where they fly a drone over it and they give updates. So the guy can just go to the website and be like, oh yeah, here's a 360 video of the housing, the progress on the house that I'm paying to have built. All right. There's one reason right there, you know? But I mean, we also got to remember Christmas time, right? I mean, people get drones for Christmas. They're cool gifts, right? And then the parents want to go out and fly them and test them out. They're flying them at night. So shit, they're probably buying some for themselves. Probably here's one for you kids and here's one for me. Right now, I'm gonna go fly it around at night. So you guys don't know what you're getting for Christmas, but me and your mom are gonna go out there and fly some drones around and have some fun, right?
Miles and acreage in the Midwest where you could fly anything you want experimentally and test and do your research there. Why are they flying over northern New Jersey, right dead smack in the middle of our airspace? We still have more questions than answers. And unfortunately, this is sad. And this is not. This
guy is grifting his own people. That's sad. But like I said, never trust the mayor. Never trust the mayor. I mean, this guy he's grifting the people, and he's playing like he's their hero, he's their savior. He's gonna get answers, and guess what? He's never gonna get the answers they're seeking. So he'll always just play this line right here, as in they're hiding it from us.
The disclosure that myself and many others were looking for.
Yeah, you're the guy who didn't do his research and said that they were looking for radioactive material. Where's that line? You didn't mention that at all.
It is an amazing disappointment to see a president who has campaigned so strongly on his willingness to confront what he calls the deep state, and he appears to be so supinely rolling.
You guys are so bought into it that you don't realize that he just tried to free you from your mind control. Miles, what's up? How you doing, man? How you doing? Good to see you, dude. Good to see you. I never did get those videos you wanted to send me, by the way. Yeah, show me. You come here and you keep telling me this, man, but I'm like waiting for it, dude. Miles, if you use Discord, you can go right into the Discord and post it, or DM me on Discord, or you can send it to my guys. Can we please make sure that Miles has my email address? Right. I want to make sure that I come through for him on this. And I will take an awesome look at it, and I will hear your voice, Miles. I will hear it.
Over and willing to accept and acquiesce to the wishes of the national security state on this issue. Frankly, I'll say it. I don't think the explanation from the White House washes.
It's not what you wanted, because your entire show is about it not being that. If you see, your show falls apart when that comes out and destroys your narrative, and that is disturbing. That sets off cognitive dissidence, right? And then now you're uncomfortable because, you know, and he is starting to move on from this a little bit. Like, you know, he's starting to cover other things. So that's probably, like I said, this is a little bit old, but it's not that old. It's like days old, but he is already starting to move on to different things now. So I think that he may find a way to duck out of this eventually. That's my early prediction right now, with Ross and his attempt to join the alien UFO rabbit hole. thing. But this is a talking head at a online media outlet, right? That's what he does. He's a reporter, he's a streamer, he's a whatever you want to call it, right? Interviewer, right? He's not like deep into this shit. And if you go back 10 years, he wasn't like, at least Greer 10 years ago was doing the same thing. This guy just hopped in. He thought he had something good. He's making a name for himself, right? And eventually he'll probably just let it like, but if you want a reality check, you need to stay based, right? You need to stay based in your assessments. And you need to consider what he's saying to be true. You've already just flushed it down the toilet because it totally destroys what you're talking about. And even with the Jake Barber stuff, you can disconnect that from the New Jersey drones, even though you've made a point of connecting it, right? You can say, well, look, these guys were doing something different. So maybe the New Jersey drones didn't have anything to do with this. Maybe it's just, maybe we thought they were, but let's focus back on what this Jake Barber guy's saying. He could do that. But I think he's going to double down, triple down, and all that stuff. Oh, no worries, Miles. No worries, Miles. I just want you to know that I wasn't making I wasn't just saying that to say it. Right? I meant what I said.
Contradicts categorical denials from the Pentagon that these were any.
This is a weak argument, Ross. This is a weak argument.
Kind of defense department.
Doesn't say Ross. It doesn't. He's such an amateur. He's so green at this. Like when you watch him next to Greer's like all polished. He's got his shit down. He's got a website. He's got archives. He's got decades of what he calls evidence, right? But at least he's putting his script together very well. Ross is just struggling now. But let's see.
Or military drone, or indeed any kind of experimental research. If in fact,
look, and if it was experimental research and if it was military stuff, why are you pushing, dude? Why are you pushing? Maybe this is going to help us, defeat Russia or China or some shit like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, even Greer has said that, sometimes secrecy is necessary. There's other people that have said the same thing when it comes to national security or experimental military aircraft or whatever. It's like, oh, we need to know. Okay, well, when so does our enemies, right? So not everything you need to know, but I mean, granted, the stuff in New Jersey was just, what it was. It wasn't anything to be worried about, alarmed about. It wasn't foreign adversaries. It wasn't aliens. He wants it to be aliens. It wasn't aliens. It was commercial drones, commercial and hobbyist drones, one and the same kind of, because you sell commercial drones on the commercial level. They're all FAA approved. They all have to be registered. We're all supposed to be registered with the FAA. They all have the lighting on it. So, with that, and then you say, oh, it happens every year at the same time. I wonder why, because Christmas is coming up and people shop around between Halloween and Christmas. They're shopping for stuff. They get it in the mail. They open it up. They test it out to make sure it works, or they fly it around and have some fun with it. I'm going to shoot a video of the house, honey, whatever. And there's, like you said, 8,500 drones that were flown every day so far. And that number's going up. Every year it goes up. So, this more code.
In December, the Defense Department was telling the truth. The implication is that the Defense Department itself was being misled. Can you think of any explanation that fits into the account given now by the White House that these were authorized drones, authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons? Can you tell us what you were told by the FAA and the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security?
Oh, guys. Hey, Nacho Kitty, what's up? Oh, guys, it's the mayor from New Jersey. Oh, shit, he's here. We better get they're probably like, that's Joe Schmo from Jersey. How fast can we get rid of this dude?
Yeah, I mean, listen, point blank, Homeland Security said it's not us. The federal government told us point blank, these are not federal operations.
And I point blank said, I don't believe
in the mayor's only briefing here in New Jersey, whereby our state of New Jersey, our own governor, couldn't get answers from the then Biden administration. I mean, come on, the Biden administration couldn't tell our governor, wink, wink, these are us, we're doing research, these are our drones. Come on. Yep. We're not accepting this anymore. And then we were on a mayor's
because they don't respect you, dude. They don't respect any of us. The corrupt establishment doesn't respect any of us, man. They're all this stuff coming out with USAID, all the money laundering, all the dirty dealings, all the witch hunts, everything that they've done, right, has been a big F you to us. So why would they listen to you? Because you're Joe Schmo, Jersey mayor? I mean, you're nobody. You're no better than the rest of us. You just got elected to an office and now you get paid with taxpayer money. right? You're no better than anybody here, right? So why are you special?
White House briefing where we were told, you're seeing things. There's nothing to see out there. We don't have not one credible threat of a report in the sky. Then the very next day, they actually convened a House Intelligence Committee, had a classified briefing that lasted 3.5 hours. Well, what did they talk about for 3.5 hours? If one,
what an idiot you are.
Or two, if our AA is saying, oh yeah, by the way, what, they forgot to tell us that those were our drones, that they have clearance? And
no, you're low-level politicians. You don't get whatever. And if Trump's the most transparent president in history, Biden's one of the most secretive presidents in history, right? The swamp creature, corrupt establishment politicians that have been in power, they're always the most secretive. So what, you're Joe Schmo Jersey. You're not in the club. You're not going to get, why don't I? I'm special. I'm a mayor. No, you're not. You're cannon fodder, brother.
Have licenses to fly. The FAA was telling us here in New Jersey when they issued a ban in 26 different municipalities, which was then extended. By the way, it's no longer active. But they were telling us if they see a drone in the sky, they may take lethal action. Come on. Why didn't they just tell us from the very beginning that it was theirs? I mean, I'm not buying it. I'm still waiting for that disclosure.
What? Oh, okay. So here's the fallacy he's living under, right? Because the corrupt Biden administration didn't tell him it. What the honest administration of Trump said isn't true. Therefore, this is why you never trust the mayor, because the mayor usually doesn't understand logic. He just understands how to finagle things, and so he's expecting someone to be dishonest because he is. It's like projection, right?
I mean, sadly, I've been waiting for about 8 days. I didn't expect much from the Biden.
Where's your nuclear material, bro? You're not gonna walk that back. You got your whole damn town scared that they're looking for nuclear material. And where's your walk back on that? You're not gonna walk back?
Administration. I do still hold out faith and hope that we will hear something better from the Trump administration. He's been all over this topic. He's been quoted multiple times, even going.
What do you want him to come out and say? Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you this part. He already said it. Asked and answered. That's the way it works.
As to say, oh, the government knows who they are, the president knows who they are. Now, 8-9 days into his administration, we're being told. I mean, really, it actually sounds like a cover story to cover the fact they didn't have a cover story.
Cope. It sounds like Cope coming out of a New Jersey mayor, and a guy who's his whole career right now is banking on the fact these are more than just your average drones, right? These are more than just a mass hysteria phenomena, or a lot of people flying new drones at one time, or people using them for business or whatever, right? That's what I got here on screen right here. A coping mayor and a coping talk show host.
I think that's the thing that's most concerning, is the possibility that the government is genuinely flummoxed, which frankly is what I.
And there we go, right? So now you're gonna throw heat at Trump, huh? You got all the good things he's doing. The guy literally sits in his office and works and does a press conference at the same time. We haven't seen that shit since the last time he was president. And you're gonna throw heat at him because he's not telling you what you want to hear. That's real big of you, dude.
I've been being told by my sources. I've been being told by
your sources. Oh, your sources are more official than Trump. Okay.
People in the FBI, the FAA,
and the FBI. Really? What's part of the FBI? The FBI that just got fired or let go? Huh? What part of the FAA? The Biden FAA that you can't be trusted? The FAA that has all kinds of problems right now? What part? What your sources? These things about people and their sources, right? I have another friend who had a source at the DOD, was telling him that it was nuclear material to look for, and he was certain that it was. So I'll let him go with it. We're both do the same thing. We're both president. I'm like, cool, run with that. I'm gonna run with my side of it, and we'll see what shakes out. Nothing ever came of it. Did they find the nuclear material? Did they find the missing nukes from Ukraine? Remember that guy that came out? Where is he now? He's gone. He's history. He's been what they call it, black hole or whatever. He's gone, right? You don't hear from him anymore. Where's your big story? Your big moment came and went, and he got his clicks and his views and subscribers out of it, and he got his notoriety and his 15 minutes of fame out of it. That's what a pathetic 15 minutes of fame, to be out there just sprouting bullshit and stoking fears amongst people, right? And that's what you're famous for now. You're the guy who said that there were missing nukes and there wasn't. Oh, congratulations. You're so awesome.
The DHS and the Defense Department, that nobody has any idea what these objects are. And indeed, it has been reported in the media, I think last week, that the FBI had admitted that they were not able to trace the source of these drones, and nor were they able to find out who was responsible for them. Now we have this.
All right. I'm going to do it again. Okay, I'll run with this for a while, right? this is like he's as bad right now as he's been in terms of this stuff, right? He's going back in the past now. You see what he's doing? He's going back in the past, digging up the old stuff from when they originally were telling you nothing and saying, well, this, that. You're basically comparing apples to oranges right now, because you're saying, well, the old administration told us this and the new administration is telling us this, so it doesn't make any sense. Like they're like, I don't know if he ever is he in America? I mean, he's Australian, but is he in America? Does he understand how things work here? Does he understand that these are two very different administrations? That they're not in coordination with each other. They're not in cahoots with each other. They're not they're not on the same team. Right. So it's basically like he's trying to say that, because their stories don't align, there's something wrong with them. Well, no, one side didn't tell you shit. It told you to go kick rocks. The other side said, here's what it is. All right. Here's what it is. And now you don't like it because, you might not be able to do these interviews anymore.
Contradictory statement from the White House, which appears to be an effort to shut this whole issue down. Now, sir.
People like this, man.
We do live in a different era from the 1940s where governments could explain things away as weather balloons. Do you think the people of New Jersey will buy this White House explanation?
I can tell you that this mayor is not buying it. And I can tell you there's a bunch of other local elected officials that are not buying it. But you're onto something. We do live in a sad reality of people's attention spans are only a few minutes long. I mean, a month ago, people were all over this. A couple of weeks ago, when this got brought back to the surface by people like me and others going on social media.
Pure blood means no vax.
Keep ringing that alarm. People were still interested. I have to say, it's waning. People are less concerned and less curious.
But he's still a mayor. He's still trying to appease the people that are paranoid and that got struck by the fear bug over all this shit, right? He's still trying to appease the people instead of reason with them. And look, man, sometimes you see things, and you think that they're bigger than they are because you're on the ground and they're up in the sky, right? Sometimes you think they're going faster than they are when they're not. You think they're one thing when they're another. I got planes. I got a flight path that's like back to the back side of my house, right? And I see flights come over all the time. And of course, I always look up and because I can see the moon, the stars, all that stuff. But I see these flight paths go over all the time, man. And I've been taking a special note of the lighting patterns on the things that go over my house, how they sound. I mean, I have helicopters fly over. I have all kinds of stuff fly over, right? All the time. And not once have I thought that they were anything but legitimate aircraft. There's nothing different about any of them from year to year to year to year. I don't care whether it's November, October, November, December, or 4 years ago when I moved in or something, how long's it been? I don't know how long ago I moved in, but when I first started being here, right, in this area, it's just like, they're the same things I've been seeing forever, it's like, when people start suddenly getting told they're supposed to be seeing something else, then that's when the mind can take over, right? So you got to be really careful about that. And you got to question the void. You got to keep an open mind. And even if you suspect something, if you really suspect something, investigate the hell out of it, man. Do yourself a favor. Don't listen to Joey Jackass over here. And don't listen to Grifty McRoss over here, right? Go do it yourself, man. Do it yourself. You can do it. You can find out about it. Don't wait for the official story and then tell the official story that they're wrong. Right? Because remember, I told you guys about this too. It's like everybody wants the official story about this, about this, about this, about this, about this, right? And then so they can then say the official story isn't what they wanted to hear. It isn't true, right? So but they beg for it at the time when it's not there. Why is it taking so long? Why is it taking so long? Right? But then when they finally get it, they're like, that's not true. That's a big cover up,
Potentially this is a whole experiment to find out how long people's attention spans are going to be. And I think they're finding out that,
dude, we don't need to do an experiment with drones to figure that out.
Sadly, people are no longer asking questions. Thankfully, I have a pulpit. And
because it's over. It's over. The truth's been come out. The truth's come out, right? And the drone flights there's people still doing it, right? But they're died down now. People get these drones for Christmas and whatnot. They get all excited about them at first. They fly around. We are flying a drone, right? And then they go and they sit in the garage. Right? Unless they're actively using them for something, they usually don't get them out. Hey, you want to fly the drone? No, let's watch TV instead. It's just like, okay, yeah, we flew the drone around. I got pictures of the house. There's me. Yeah. Oh, look, it almost hit me in the head. It's like, all the fun goes out of it really fast. You're not using it for a real purpose. If you're a streamer and you got one following you around and you do daily streams with it, well, okay, yeah, you're getting good use out of that drone. That's why I didn't buy one. I mean, I almost bought one of those DJIs. especially when this came out. I was like, oh, I want one. This one will follow you around. This one knows your face. This one will be like your little friend. It's recording everything. And I'm like, what would I use this for? You know, why am I going to spend $300 on this drone for the gimmick? Right? That's like just being, you know, that's just, you're just buying it now. You're pretty much just throwing money out to have a drone sitting around the house. You know, a long time ago when they first came out, before they had cameras on them and all that, I had like 2 or 3. I got the kid for Christmas. We flew him around. He flew him into the wall, all that stuff. And we got tired of them, and they're gone now. I don't even know where the hell they are. And probably sitting in a box somewhere in the garage. I have no idea. Right. But the excitement wears off. You know, that's all it is.
Hopefully I have a mechanism in a media format to be able to ask those questions and hopefully demand some answers. But you're right. We are getting competing information. I mean, the federal government initially was telling us nothing to see here. Then you had one Congressperson
they still are.
that it was an Iranian mothership off the coast of our shore.
But that was bullshit, right? And that should clue you into the fact that people were trying to mislead you guys for a reason. So once you look at the misleading reason, who told you that, right? It was another New Jersey senator. That's who told you that, Mayor. And he says he got it from the DOD. Yeah, the Pentagon. The Pentagon, you think the Pentagon wanted to stir the pot a little bit to manufacture consent for their legislation that was coming out that would have spent more money, put more money out there into the grifty money laundering world that they had created for so long, right? You know, give them more surveillance to the Pentagon, which they love to have. I mean, they were manufacturing consent for more technologies to be rolled out that would enable more authorities to connect to their system with more data gathering technology, right? And maybe there may come a time in the future where, like I went through with how drones are being used in warfare, right? And we do deep dives, real research, and said, you know, it may come a time that we need to think about as drone technology evolves, how people are using these drones for doing malicious activities, right? I mean, you could fly in a vampire drone with a robot dog attached to it that they can drop off and pick up in the middle of the night, right? That gets a little scary, doesn't it? We may need some technologies to defeat that, to counteract that, right? We're not there yet, but that's the way it is going. That's what's going down over in Ukraine and Russia and in the war right now. So that the reality of that is it's exactly happening, right? So those precautions may come around, but not on the back of Chuck Schumer and the corrupt establishment. We're not taking their legislation. We're not taking their solutions. Their solutions always just benefit themselves and take rights away from us. We're looking for a new way of doing things. Now that we have the new administration in there, we'll see what they have to say, but we need their trust and back. We need to trust them and back them on these things. And here we have Joey Jersey over here trying to run for mayor, you know, spinning out with Grifty Ross on NewsNation as their narrative falls apart.
Sure. Then you had another, I think it was the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, say it was China. So all this competing information.
Oh, but who are you going to listen to? These guys are guessing just like you are. Just like when you guessed about the radioactive material being searched for it. They're sniffing it. I got it on good authority. They're sniffing for missing radioactive material. The radioactive material had already been found. It was very minute amounts from a CAT scan machine. It had already been found by the time while you were giving that interview. That's how uninformed you are. So how are you an authority? Why are you trustworthy? You're not.
I mean, all it does is fuel conspirity theories. So
hey,
truth and transparency.
You're the fuel of conspiracy theories, brother. You're the fuel. Hey, Evelyn, how you doing? You are the fuel. This is the you know, this is the lack of what do you call it? Self insight. I mean, this is the lack of. He can't even look in the mirror and tell and understand that he's part of the conspiracy theory. He's fueling the conspiracy theory. It's not the government, right? It's not that. It's people like you that are out there talking out of your freaking ass, right? To seem like you're somebody when you're not, right? And it all boils down to him getting reelected. I guarantee it.
Is going to tell the truth. We're waiting for that. I'm hoping, and I'm still crossing my
fingers. You got the truth already, and this guy is
disclosure. We deserve more answers. Drones were flying over my house last night.
Now, just one thing I want to remind the public about is that in mid-December, when this was all in full blossom, when everybody was getting very wound up about these drones, there was a statement issued by the FAA, the DHS, the Department of Defense, and the FBI, where they made a categorical statement that these were simple misidentifications of known aircraft. And that, in fact, there was no suggestion in that statement that there was any kind of authorized drone flyover authorized by the FAA. Do you agree that that statement appears to direct?
This is like straw man right here. Do you agree? Let me nitpick the statements right here, which was a vague statement at best, but yet I'm going to nitpick it like it was precise. I mean, when you talk about FAA approved flights, right? You talk about whatever that means, right? No one's even laid out the definition of that here on the show. I'm just going to point that out right now. No one's even bothered to let their audience know exactly what that means, right? And how vast that is. Are we talking about just for New Jersey? Are we talking about the whole country? I mean, are we talking about anything from a commercial a license that you get when you buy a drone in the store, right? Because they got licenses too, right? Those are authorized flights by the FAA. Believe it or not, it's not like a scheduled, like I'm going to fly from here to here. And just, no, they're just like, you got it. Okay. You're using it. Okay. You've registered it. Okay. You're authorized. You're authorized. That could be anything. It could mean anything. He's going to act like it means something more than it does because he needs it to.
Contradict what the White House has said today.
I can't believe they didn't say what we wanted them to say, guys.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, why do a temporary ban?
Can we go into the cry closet together?
Municipalities here, if you know exactly what's going on, and why not just say it? I mean,
he just said exactly what's going on. You know, I hate to see the day this guy goes up to Trump and starts talking this shit. Sir, why didn't you say what's exactly going on? What are you talking about? I said exactly what's going on. I told you I'd say it, and I said it. What's your problem, Joey? You know, what's your problem? I told you that. Why are you contradicting me? Why you acting stirring shit? Well, you didn't say what I wanted you to say, sir. Well, what you thought was wrong. How about that?
In fact, they're telling us they were flying and various other reasons. I've been saying for a long time, we're no longer questioning who's doing it. I had believed that these were government assets from the very beginning. Unfortunately, we don't know why. Why are they flying over urban spaces?
I'll try not to interrupt.
Northern New Jersey, densely populated areas.
We're going to set me off again.
They could do training exercise. Plenty of places they could do research. What is it they're looking or
plenty of places? That just not up with not in Northern New Jersey, where there's plenty of room to do research. You can do research plenty of places. Why are you doing it there? You just said one reason why they should do it there.
I say sniffing for.
So were they sniffing for? Do you even understand how that works, dude? Did you even bother to look up how sniffing technology works on a drone? I did. Some boring ass shit, I'll tell you that. And it's not very effective. And you need a lot of it for it to be even work. Like a little bit that comes out of a CAT scan machine, you're going to find that. Not to mention there's lead lining. I've been over this. Lead lining, underground. There's a million ways you can mask it, right? Flying drones over in a grid pattern like you're just the shotgun approach. So let's send out all the drones and look for it. Send them all. Send them everywhere. You would see probably more, actually, than what you really saw. You see like a fucking fleet. You think the goddamn aliens from Mars were attacking, right? You would think there was a light show. They're gonna like make a picture of a dragon in the sky and something. You know, that's how many drones you'd need to send out to sniff an entire state and cover it from start to finish, looking for something that minute. And yet, man, maybe I should run for mayor of New Jersey. If this asshole can get the job, I'm sure I could get it. I mean, hell, dude. Is he mobbed up, Shelley? I don't know.
The other concern is that there have been military bases closed down, not just over New Jersey, but across the continental United States. The Picatinny Arsenal over New Jersey, there were so many overflights over there that the commander confirmed that there were 11 illegal incursions that were directly over the base. That has nothing to do with the New Jersey drones, by the way. I mean, it has nothing to do with them. This is where he's going to muddy the waters by mixing the narratives together. At least the lady in the Pentagon press conference was savvy enough to split those two narratives up. As we discovered in our research, Drone Apocalypse 2024, hit the playlist. It's out there where I walk us all the way through this topic from start to finish. It's a good rewatch if you're really interested in this topic to see how we break it down using root cause analysis techniques. Not perfect, but it's there. And how we came to our conclusions, and our conclusions came out right. They came out right, you know. Mass hysteria won in over indulgence of a topic. Useful idiots like Mayor McNuts over here. To manufacture consent for legislation that would profit companies that are in with the establishment, and also roll out technologies that would increase spying, at the same time dividing that narrative up, peeling off the grifty narrative of Stephen Greer and others that said that it's some kind of rogue underground military base with 1,000 years ahead of us technology, alien technology, where they shoot down 80 freaking UFOs since 1940 or whatever the fuck you're saying, right? And then also the very real incursions over military bases of
non-commercial drones, right? These are the ones without the lights on them. These are the ones that are of some kind of concern. Either they're ours or they're somebody else's, but we're not going to know that because that has to be kept under wraps because there's intelligence gathering going on either by us or by somebody else that we don't want people to know they can actually do. So military secret right there, probably not going to get a lot about it. We'll hear something about it maybe here and there, but unless something major happens, like they say, oh, we got to stop China or whoever from flying over on military bases because they're this is an act of war and we're ready to go to war over this and we're ready to make you stop. That hasn't happened, right? And as far as intelligence gathering goes, nothing. They're using satellites to talk to each other. So I mean, they got satellite technology. What are they going to do with it? You want to come at us, bro? Come at us, bro. Let's try it. You're going to lose. We're going to win. So I mean, you just have to keep applying. You have to keep questioning to the void, and you have to keep applying as much logic as you possibly can with what you have, and you'll find out that there's many different narratives. These guys are locked into 2 of the 3 narratives. One guy on the right, the guy on the right's locked into one narrative, and the guy on the left is locked into the other one. So, but yet they work nicely together because neither one of them are right.
Definition: they were gross incursions that posed a national security threat. Does the assurance now from the White House that these were authorized drones put your concerns to rest, sir? I know they don't, but I just want to hear it from you.
No, they don't. As I said before, it sounds like a cover story to cover for the fact they had no cover story. I mean, keep in mind, it wasn't widely reported.
So you just called Trump a liar. Congratulations, dude. You're on the list. You just called Trump a liar. He just called this guy right here, New Jersey mayor, just called Trump a liar. There you go. So you knew this was going to happen. Either you have to I knew it would come to this point because what other choice do they have, right? This is the logical conclusion. If it doesn't go your way and you don't want to believe what you're hearing, you're going to inevitably have to call the source a lie or dishonest, or, you're going to use the word cover story, right? Well, cover story is still non-transparent. It's still dishonest. You might as well just be, you're calling him a liar. You're saying he lied. He's going to lie. So he lied about this. He lied about other things. They didn't tell us the truth about the drone. So so every time you don't hear what you want to hear, right, you're going to run back to this. This guy is part of the problem. He needs to be voted out of office. He's out of here. I was here. This guy's supposed to.
I'd like to bring in evidence that suggests that the drone incursions, so-called, are not happening just over the east coast of America or the west coast.
All right, we know that. I'm gonna bump out of this, man. I'm gonna jump out of this. We got a real experienced scripter coming up. I'm just trying to see if there's any footage here. Maybe it is worth listening to. I mean, I get it, right? I like looking at the footage. I know this is maybe confusing some people, but I'm just all right. That's just a light in the sky, guys. Let's take a look at where he's talking about here. ORD, Nebraska. What is this?
A bunch of hobbyist kids or people out flying their drones. These were
okay. Guys, classic technique. You guys know this. The classic technique of UFO, now I call it drone or whatever you want to call it, eyewitness footage, is to move the camera around a bunch and make it look like it's moving fast, or you can't even keep track of it, right? So you see
large
this here.
drones.
This isn't the drone moving. This is the camera moving. Right? Train your eyes to see that.
They were small ones. They were bright lights in the sky. They were orbs at times. It was just
blurry, unfocused shots, right? They are orbs because they weren't focused in right. Oh, the Jake Barber stuff? I've done a bunch of shows on that already. He's full. I mean, he's full of it, man. We broke down the entire interview he did on NewsNation with it. The egg footage, man. It was the Winning Saturday Night episode. It's still out there and viewable, right? Because they tried to block it. Because oh no, can't let the truth get out. Oh, did they unblock it? Nope, it's still partially blocked, but I think just in Russia or something. It's reviewing their dispute, so it'll be unlocked in maybe 30 days. I have no idea. It's still out there though. Oh no, wait, hold on. That's okay. Limited Greer's reaction. Yeah, Winning Saturday Night, ineligible, copyright found, the copyright owners reviewing dispute. Okay, no, you can still see that one. That one's not partially blocked. Sorry, that's out there. I did the whole thing. The live event starts at 49 minutes in, where I actually get the live footage on there, so you can skip ahead to that part. But no, we all watched it, and we all watched the egg in a basket. Yeah, the Eggman, cuckoo, cuckoo, orbs and ord. Yeah. So let me know. I mean, we may be right on about it. I don't know if you that whole thing didn't look right at all. It didn't look right at all. And that was the big disclosure and you know, an egg. We talked a lot about things like that. And I think I might have been the first one out the door with the Mork and Mindy reference. I at least was the first one to play the video. So, you know, we're making history here week after week. So anyways, let's see.
It was madness for about 17 days.
I mean, how do you come on a national broadcast and like feel good about that footage? I feel good about this footage. I mean, do you really not know how this stuff works? How about this?
Searching for an answer. Is it possible that because locals knew about those earlier sightings, these people are misguided, that they're misdirecting themselves, that they're looking at prosaic objects like aircraft or objects like stars or satellites and misidentifying them? You know, sometimes we're very suggestible as humans. Could it be that, do you think?
Well, obviously some of those calls did happen, but we would do our due diligence. And
they said that 99% of the calls that came in were like explainable, like aircraft that should have been there. I mean, it was something in the high end 90s, like 98, 99%. And the other percentages were things they just couldn't come to a firm conclusion on because of the vagueness of it or because of the lack of evidence or something like that.
Investigate into it.
Nothing came through as, oh, this is something different.
In other counties, but there was times where you had multiple witnesses, you had deputies, sheriffs.
That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
Sheriffs, police.
Deputies and sheriffs are just people who do a job. Okay. That doesn't make them experts. It doesn't make them better than anybody else. They're not better than anybody else. Just for certain hours of the day, they can carry a gun and shoot people and arrest them. All right. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that they're UFO experts or they're somehow better than other people. That doesn't mean they're better than anybody, dude.
Police officers witnessing things with their own eyes, and these things weren't.
Oh, and they would never lie. There's no such thing as a corrupt cop. There was no such thing as a cop there's no such thing as that. So of course, if a police officer says it must be true. I mean, they're never misled. They never see things the wrong way. You know, basically we should just throw the courts out and go by what the cops say, right?
30,000 feet up. They weren't in space. They were at 60 feet.
That's a plane.
100 feet. They were right there. And go ahead, Ross.
And this is the same footage. You're showing the same footage again. You're doing the green eggs and ham thing. What you got here?
Flew just right by me and continued south. And as I continued to go into this small little town, whatever those little ones were, they disappeared when the big one left.
What was the shape of the big one? Did it look like a craft, or did it look?
Oh, but did it look like a giant egg? Was there a chicken flying behind it?
More like an orb.
Yeah, it looked essentially like an orb, a big bright light in the sky, and it was moving. It was moving so fast. It still blows my mind to this day.
So when you say fast, I mean, you'd be familiar with the term the five observable.
And how much had you had to drink that night, sir? Well, I was tripping my balls off. I had a bottle of bourbon. See, instantaneous acceleration, hypersonic velocity, low observability, transmedium travel, and anti-gravity. Yeah, these are all things that are observable from the ground. You know, these really are transmedium travel. Yes, you know, they're coming in and out of our reality. They're going through the different dimensions as we speak. Low observationability. That is making up goddamn words, man. Low observationability. What the fuck, man? Instantaneous acceleration. Oh, I gotta go real fast. Yeah, I saw the camera. It moved really fast from the right to the left, and that thing took off. Right? Anti-gravity. How can you tell it's anti-gravity? Because it hovered in some, you know, that could be propellers. Propellers make you hover in place too. You know, this is a clown show. We're out of here. We're out of here, guys. Any more? No, look, they're going to show the same damn footage again right there. Any more? Anything else? Come on. What's this? That's a plane taking off. All right, what we got here? From Air Force Base.
So off it's about 3.5 hours.
What kind of plane is that, guys? It's an Air Force plane. There's the Air Force logo on it.
East of us. They're to the east of.
East. Yeah.
Oh my God! Look at how big that drone was. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. That's what it. And there's the same footage again. And this is a statement. He's some dude. He's some sheriff. He probably shouldn't be sheriff at this point. I don't know. Maybe you should stick to just enforcing the law and not, you know, trying to be the next Stephen Greer. All right, that's done. I need to cut that in an hour because we got a long one to go through with a guy who knows how to do it right. All right, we're gonna bring in the pro, literally the self-proclaimed savior of the universe. Really is what he is. He's one of my favorites now. See, I participated. You did. I participated in Ross Coulthart's live show in chat and got my question answered after spamming it 1,000 times. What was the question, Levy? What'd you get? What'd you get, man? No, yeah, I don't drink that shit, man. Yeah, Pepsi AC is about as far as I go with that stuff. Let's see. What's up, Lefty Lulz? How you doing, man? How you doing? Good to see ya. That's a KC 135. All right, let's say that. I want to know what Levy. Did you get him to ask why he's such a damn grifter? Did you ask him where he's going to go when his grift falls apart? Why eggs suddenly? We have saucers, Tic Tac, cigars, orbs, and now suddenly eggs. I don't know. They're making an omelet. Oh, there's a giant chicken out there somewhere, man. That's all I'm saying. There's a giant space chicken. So good question. And I'm glad you asked him. Did he answer? What was his answer? Please tell us. I don't know, but the government's clearly hiding it from us. The giant chicken is somewhere out there, and it's going to eat all the feed and to eat all the worms off the planet. I don't know what he's talking about, man. I don't know what he's talking about. This guy, he's moved on to other things like the airplane, disaster and stuff like that. We'll see if he circles back, man. I mean, I show both narratives, right? And he's definitely failing every day. We had the guy with the alien abduction last week. That was comical. I mean, really, I think I play these things more for comedy than anything. And they get me riled up because in the back of my mind, I know that these people are out there just, it's the whole abusing people and leading people on for profit that I'd love to see us move away from down the road, if that's ever possible. Like I said, I didn't create an alter ego. I launched Winning Star Reality, and he's just into all this shit, right? He's just behind it all. He's just the grifting the hell out of it. Maybe he'll end up. Maybe they'll try to get both of us on at the same time. They'll be like, "But your twin brother over on Winning Reality, he doesn't seem to agree with you." I can get like a war going between one channel and another. Like, I'll get a different color hat or something. Well, actually, for him, that is, because he's real. He's real. It's real. I have to keep going. You know what I'm saying? And we'll sit there and we'll argue about it, and and maybe we'll get on a show and we'll just be debating each other. That'd be so good. They're the big fans of Mark and Mindy. Let's see. He said, eggs have long been part of lore. Foo Fighters apparently are eggs. Tic Tacs and cigars are eggs. And blue shift because of speed. Ross told you this? Ross told you this? Is he an expert now? He thinks he's Stephen Greer. You should have asked him why don't you have Stephen Greer on? He claims that your whistleblower is part of his team. I still think we still need to get Elon involved, man. If we can get Elon to start stomping on these guys' heads, man, it'd be so great. I know he's busy though. Maybe in a couple of years. I want him to do what he's doing right now. He's doing such a good job. Exposing all the money laundering and the waste and the inefficiencies and all the bullshit that we've been putting up with forever. I mean, think about it. Trump had 4 years before, and he didn't catch half this shit because he was new, right? And he had a bad crew around him. Now he's got a great crew, and shit's getting done. And we're gonna be cleaning up this place like we've never seen in our lifetime. It's gonna be great. See, because I know how Greer was involved with Barbara. Okay, so what's the deal with that? Did you send me that? I wouldn't mind doing that right now. There you go. You sure did. Okay, how long is this? It doesn't matter. This seems like it. Oh my God, it's 3 hours. I changed my tune pass. Can you tell me exactly where he said this? Which one is this? Who's Jesse Michaels? Jake's introduction, Air Force recruitment journey, entering special operations training, deceptions in military training. These are really building up health issues. Bentwada's incident, UFO crash retrievals, the egg recovery experience. Oh, here we go with that. Summoning the egg. Oh, summoning the egg with psionics. Yes, the psionics. Octagon shaped craft retrieval. Where's the video on that? Is there something here? No, it's just a really weird close-up picture of his face. Looks like he's out there. Is that Logan Paul? No. Psionics assets, human trafficking, Michael Herrera story. I'm cruising through this, guys. Let me see. Role of private aerospace contractors, the program, the changing tides, the Clinton era and disclosure. Oh, is that where it was? In there? I could see it coming through in that one. JFK and the UFO connection. Oh my goodness. The need for accountability, witnesses and whistleblowers, red team training, the strategy behind disclosure. That sounds like it might be getting into it. Which this is about an hour of this. New Jersey drone incident. Oh, you're done now. Institutional distrust, Project Bluebeam. Oh, okay. Angels and demons, personal journey, aliens and biologicals, Jake's future demonstrations, most replayed, and join our WAP. Okay. So I got that now. I'm going to save that to the freaking folder. Thank you for that, Levy, by the way. I appreciate it. That's my private folder called Disclosure 2025. All right. Jesse Michaels is awesome. Now, what did you think of the interview? Elon is busy printing stuff, using stuff off the US aid computers right now. Hell yeah, he is. Cinegram, what's up? To say hello to you. How you doing? The Mike Herrera story is where it is. Okay. Let me see. If I can just play a piece of it, I'll play a little piece of it. How about that, guys? A little bonus. I love it when the crowd adds to the content. All right, we're done with Grifty McGrift here for tonight. We're not done with them forever. We'll be back, Ross. Count on it. All right. Let me pull this over here. Crash retrieval guy. And do you think Jesse Michaels is does he ask questions, or are you kind of going along with the UFO thing? I'm just wondering. You just can't buy into these guys because they come in the door, right? That's the problem with I hope Patrick doesn't do it. We're getting ready to go to Patrick Bet Davis here in a second, but I hope that he doesn't do it, because it's just enabling them, right? You're like, okay, if you really believe this, right, you should be able to stand up to scrutiny. Like, if you really believe in a conspiracy, okay, here we go. Oh yeah, okay, we can do this. If you really believe in something, you should be able to take the heat. You should be able to take a conversation. You should be able to flex and put your belief system up against new information. Right? A true sign of intelligence is being able to change your mind in the face of new information and to adjust your belief system accordingly. Right? People that aren't can't. And that's the problem, right? And that's what these grifters and these corrupt establishment types and propaganda types do, subversive types do to people. That's what we want to fight. That's what we want to train out of people. That's what we wanted to build the resistance to. Because when we do that, we're going to have a more honest, clear, transparent, and prosperous world to live in, a safer world to live in. All the things that MAGA promises and so on can last generations and generations and generations, right? Not just administrations, but generations. That's what we want to go for. We don't want to be back here when we're old, tired, and in the way, right? A lot of us are getting there, and trying to fight this damn battle again. The new Obama gets in, the new Biden gets in, the new Clinton gets in, and they start tearing the place apart again. And before we turn around and know it, all of our money's going out the door. Our rights are gone. Our taxes are up. We're paying more for everything. And it's worse because now they got the technology to really oppress us even worse. We've always been racing the technology. We've always been racing technology to clean up our system and to get us out from underneath tyranny and authoritarianism. We're racing technology, guys, and technology is just caught up. So this point in history is pivotal because we actually have a chance to stop future endeavors that corrupt and destroy our country and keep it from happening again. It's always hearts and minds first. The subversion of our freedoms and our liberties and our American ideology. It's always that first. All right, so let me pull this up and we'll take a look at this. He's pretty base, but a believer. Okay. So, I mean, this is the thing. You can be a believer, right? You can be a believer, but you gotta be trying to always confirm that belief, right? You need to be certain that you're not being taken advantage of, because there's a lot of people out there that will do it to you, right? You can't just lay down and close your eyes and be like, I trust this guy and it's all over. So whatever he tells me, I believe. Now you're just belong to them. You belong to them at that point, right? You need to maintain your sovereignty, your mind, your mental sovereignty from these grifters and these people that are, that are trying to validate their opinions, right? Maintain your sovereignty, but keep it open mind. Like I start off almost every one of these shows by saying, I'll be happy if, like, aliens come land and give us technology and make the world like Star Trek. Man, I love that shit. I mean, I probably won't get to see that in my lifetime, but wouldn't that be great, right? I would teleport. I want to teleport places, man. I want to replicate, I want a laser weapon. I want a laser gun. I want to fly in cars. I want to do fun things like that. Right. I don't want to have to I want free 0 point energy. I want all that shit. I'd love to have it. I'm not going to sell my soul to get it. 1. And 2, I'm not going to mislead myself and disrespect myself by lying to myself about the fact that it's here, but it's being hidden by something. Right. So I have some kind of false battle going on that I can't prove. And that's just hearsay. It's all hearsay with these guys. But let's listen to this real quick. Get ready for a whoa. Okay, cool. Let's go. Can't wait. All right. I am going to speed it up though. And then we're going to get to the Greer interview as much of it as we can get to. You know how I get on these things. I mean, it might be a part 2 next week, but we got that 320 page thing to look at. Maybe that won't be as bad as it sounds.
Monitor their experience to make sure they're safe and healthy and not getting hurt. But you're also
jumping in
correlating
it
to your other measure. It's a measuring device for us. That's what this whole crazy thing about taking a psionic asset, putting them in our work suite, which is like a Faraday cage, and getting them involved is just a.
Does that sound right? Hold on. Work suite, Faraday cage. If it's a Faraday cage, wouldn't they have problems getting their psionics out of the Faraday cage? Seems counterproductive, but I might not understand what he's talking about at this point.
Add a 6th, 7th, 8th piece of equipment. So when this phenomenon shows up, does the random number generator in here move when it also shows up on IR over our radar? So it's not like we're going off the deep end. Our whole world is all about psionics and remote viewing. It's not.
No, it's literally correlating with an observable. You're getting on another, and multi-sensory corroboration is what you're looking for in any sort of scientific process.
And it works the other way. Sometimes the intent is to have the psionic assets summon the phenomenon, and the rest of the equipment is turned down. And then, because we want to be able to isolate where we're having successes. So they ramp up, they activate, they summon, they invite it in, and then the rest of the equipment becomes measuring for their summoning effort. And so, yeah.
So it sounds like the U.S. government has used kids as psionic assets. And does that bother you at all?
That bothers me. Yeah, it does. It does bother me.
Do you have a model of what these crafts are and what's inside of them?
Well, interestingly enough, this particular craft that we've gone is exactly what Michael Herrera reports to have seen.
That's the
Indonesia.
It's the one time I've ever heard this brought up, that account. And it's matte black, like you described. He calls it phantom black, and he says it has 8, like an octagonal shape.
Yeah. So I heard Michael Herrera's story in Washington, D.C.
Michael Herrera. Okay. That's where it's coming from. This is the guy that supposedly saw this thing in the woods with the abducting tsunami, hurricane, tsunami, or earthquake, tsunami victims. Okay.
In 2023, I believe there was a whistleblower conference shortly after the Whistleblower Protection Act got activated, and then there was this at the National Press Club hosted by Stephen Greer. There were several whistleblowers that had.
Triangular. Oh, it's triangular here, man. It's not octagonal. 2023. That looks really small too. That doesn't look like a football field to me. Maybe they're talking about something different here. All right, so see, this is why right here. You see this? Where they're at? What he's doing? He's got his tie on. He's right here. This is why Stephen Greer is worth $6.6 million. And this is why his entire business is about putting on this charade. because people are throwing money at him, man. They're throwing money at him. Shelly, I should have been a grifter. I might have to, guys, I might have to turn to grifting. I might have to just say, you know, I have an epiphany or something, because I can't, you know, I need a flying car. It's what it is. Right. So I need a flying car and I need a house to land it on. So, I might have to turn to grifting. It's like $6.6 million. I'm going to go over there and just take over his shit and be like, look, the aliens sent me to send Stephen Greer a message. I have created a new protocol. It combines CE5 and psionics like nobody's ever seen before in a new way. It involves cats. All right. And we're going to get these cats. Right? Cats are great intermediaries because they have claws and they have ears. And you see, there are special sensories in their whiskers, right? They help us communicate with the aliens so that they can come and land peacefully and transform us into the fifth dimension. That's what we need to do. I'm here to do it. Stephen's had decades to get this done, and the aliens pretty much are fed up with him. Let me tell you the truth about Stephen and the aliens. They're not on good terms. Okay, they're not on good terms, and they've actually cut off contact with him. They're not talking to him right now. You know, they thought he was the savior, but he's not. I ran into him, just happened to run into him. I was meditating in the middle of the woods by myself, and I happened to run into some aliens, and they told me, look, we're looking for a new guy. And I was like, you got right here. I got it. I'll get it done. I will get the job done. Stephen Greer could not get done. That's the thing. So yeah, you know, I might have to switch. I might have to switch teams here. All right, here we go.
Decided to come forward in that environment and share their stories. So we were actually sent there on behalf of our employer to look for whistleblowers that we were trying to basically report to the FBI and get arrested. Because at that time, I was in this weird place between becoming a whistleblower or rounding up the whistleblowers and shutting them up, because there were good reasons and bad reasons to be a whistleblower. And so
you were at this press event red teaming, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
You are trying to maybe gather intel on people who might become a liability for the program. Yeah. And you hear Michael Herrera give his testimony.
Yeah, and I wasn't prepared for that. So
I'm sorry, because you had already seen the Aegon.
Yes.
And then
Logan Paul was there. I thought I saw Logan Paul. He's got his prime shirt on. I guess this was after he was United States champion of a WWE. And Logan Paul's there. It's got to be legit. It's like
he talked to us what you had experienced firsthand, and
he's getting up there, and everyone's like, "This guy's full."
Logan Paul interviewed this guy.
Full of shit.
Well, his was the craziest testimony from that, and so basically, this guy is saying,
"Why is Logan Paul there?" It's
2009. He's deployed with his Marine unit to the Philippines. Then a small part of that Marine unit, like 8 or 9 people, get actually moved off to Indonesia. Is this right?
Yes.
And there's a 7 Richter scale earthquake that just occurred in the area. So it's a disaster zone.
This is good. We're going to want to go over this whole thing. Keep going.
And he sees this 8-gon, octagon-shaped craft, matte black. He describes it as like blacker than black. Mm-hmm. And it's hovering above the treetops. And his unit starts to close in because he's like, what is this thing?
Yeah. This is not actual footage, guys. This is AI. I'm just letting you know. It's not. I mean, they should have actual footage, right? I mean, if you saw something like this in the middle of the woods, wouldn't you record it? Wouldn't you take pictures? This is not real pictures.
So there's a humming sound around it. So not a traditional engine.
Yeah.
They're adding humming sounds right now for effect. All right.
And as they're sort of moving towards it,
that's not actual footage.
What he describes as this elite, possibly Department of Energy paramilitary unit with.
Because the Department of Energy is full of elite individuals just flying UFOs everywhere. Now, hey, look, Herrera is saying that's Department of Energy, right? Greer, I don't know how he did this, but they were in the same room, I guess. Greer has now said that it's this deep rogue underground military rogue, a group that's threatening humanity. Hey, what's up? There you go, Nacho Kitty. Yeah, we'll get them. Don't you worry.
Technical gear out the wazoo comes and apprehends he and his team. Yeah. And they have bioscanners and they have all sorts of technical gear.
Look at that. Is that the bioscanner? I love
threatening this team of Marines, and they're saying it's easy to get lost in the jungle, right?
Yeah.
They were actually 2 of the guys were actually talking about either, hey, should we smoke these guys right now? You know, that's what they kept saying. It was kind of feeding more into the fear at that point because, again, I don't know who these guys are. I know they had American gear. They had American sidearms as well. If these guys have actually taken an oath like we have,
and why they're going against people like us and even willing to kill
6/12/2023.
Servicemen who just even stumbled onto this. It just blows my mind, and it's very sick.
And so Michael Herrera comes back to the U.S. He's shocked. He actually does a little bit of press.
Hold on. I thought you said, well, you guys can just come with us. See, now I remember Greer's story, so I can compare it. Right. So he's now Greer's taken this guy's story and elaborated on it. This guy's up there for whatever reason telling it. The Department of Energy, right? I don't know. I'd be running around catching photos from different angles. Yeah, wouldn't you? Well, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
Around this, because he's like, this is ridiculous that this is being hid to the American public. And then somebody,
hold on, what was that? What did they flash there?
Sick.
And so Michael Herrera comes back to the U.S. He's shocked. He actually does a little bit of press around this because he's like, this is ridiculous that this is being hid to the.
I thought that this happened. He came back in 2023 and said this. I thought Greer said this happened a while ago. Maybe I misheard that. I don't know. Illegal drug weapons unloading. August, 2009. So, okay, here's the thing, right? This dude, that's what I thought. It was like 2009. This guy comes out. What, 10, 15 years later? Yeah, it's like a porch umbrella. That's like a good call, Nacho. He comes in and says this 10 years later. So he didn't just come back like pissed off. He came back and waited 10 years or more and then said something. What does it say here? Hold on. You guys need to read it too. Closest I'm gonna get. Pallets, guns, illegal, where they were transporting a large shipping container. Illegal weapons were being moved in small containers. Where are the people at? Illegal drugs, weapons were offloaded into black Ford pickup truck in tropical environment. Fight other U.S. Marines were with the primary eyewitnesses. Now, why would this guy I guess he got moved over to Indonesia to help people and going through a hard time because of the earthquake tsunami. Entire upper reaction of craft lower down into platform. It sounds like your basic kind of UFO flying saucer shit. Where are the people, Steven? Where are the people at? This guy isn't talking about any people, is he? They're supposed to be getting experimented on a deep underground basis, Steven. What the hell? Oh, yeah, omelets. I could eat them every day. It's the
American public. And then somebody back channels to him from the program and says, actually, the reason that elite squad was there and they were there next to that craft is because they were transferring psionic assets for the program. Yeah. And so this was a human trafficking operation where they. Oh,
there we go. So someone came and back channeled this shit. Let's spice up this story a little bit and add some psionics to it. What do you say?
We're taking people, putting them in pods, loading them onto these craft, and then that craft was taking them back to the U.S. for use.
So what are you trying to say? Like the eggs got people in them with psionic powers, and they hatch and they come out. It's Mork. This is goddamn the plot from Mork and Mindy. This is when you start to get really, really infuriating. It's like when you realize you've been grifted by an 80s show that some people that saw that most of these people weren't even old enough when it came out. And then, and they saw it on reruns and decided that they were going to run with that. That's when it gets bad, right? But you started off omelet better than sex. In fact, I really get off when I'm eating an omelet during sex, right? What's his favorite kind of omelet? That's what I want to know. 6.6 mil. Now I know why he bothers you so much. Yes, Nacho Kitty. That's one of them. The other is the abuse of people, right? It's just the abuse of people. We're not going to change anything in this world till we get the cycle of abuse under control and minimized, right? Because the cycle of abuse powers the cycle of control, right? Without corrupted, demoralized people, this bullshit wouldn't be flying, right? So, all right. Let's hear all he has to say. But yeah, okay. So they're potting out psionic Indonesians that just went through a tsunami earthquake. Got it.
back channeled it. That was us. We back channeled that.
That was you.
That was me.
Oh my!
I was the back channel.
When
what a surprise! This guy, he could live up to Steve. Maybe look. Let's put it this way: if you're out there in the UFO community, UFO, alien, UAP, NHI, grift community, you're gonna model yourself after Stephen Greer. I mean, he's the king, right? He's outlasted it and now outperformed everybody else out there. Everybody wants to be on the team with Stephen Greer. He's a $6.6 million man, right? So you all want to be there because he's outlasted. He's carried the grift for decades. He's made the most money at it, right? Of course you want to. You want to get on the biggest podcast. You want to be with the winning team, right? So in terms of conspiracy grifting, the alien UFO rabbit hole, the Team Greer is where you want to be. Now, that's why I was questioning this guy. Like, why are they supposedly connected and supposedly buddies? Like, this guy supposedly flew Greer around in his helicopter and showed him the Black Ops sites. He hasn't mentioned that one time yet. Levy, did he mention that in this interview that he flew Greer around in his helicopter?
And that happened.
We
were able to cooperate.
I'm saying you got to question these guys to the void.
One,
listen to the void.
Those types of
void.
Paramilitary units do exist because guys from our group get recruited and offered jobs to go exercise our skills elsewhere outside the U.S. I have never done.
What about the rogue group that has 1,000 years ahead of us alien technology? You are supposedly in on that too.
I've never been part of those teams. The other thing is the description of the craft is exactly what I had seen before and my team had seen before, except he claimed this one was like 300 feet in diameter. Never seen one that big. The other thing were the containers. He described the containers at the time as being used for transporting drugs. He was just speculating. He wasn't lying, but he assumed that they were there, must have been transporting drugs because he saw these units on the roofs. Well, those units were, those units that they used are consistent with the workstations we use when we're out on the range. They're mini split HVAC systems that are used up there because, as I explained, that's where we have our data observation team in those. And most of the time, those are the Faraday cages for the psionic assets. We also know.
Why do you need to put people in Faraday cages when you're transporting them? These are the questions you have to stop and ask when you hear these stories. See, for a lot of people who are watching a 3-hour interview, right? Which I appreciate him. I appreciate the 3-hour interview. I appreciate him putting out everything as it is, right? That's cool, right? But you have to, your brain starts to like go into that alpha wave. Was it alpha wave mode where you just, or is it beta wave mode? I don't know, but it's one of those modes where you just start becoming very subjectable to the story, right? You get entrenched in the story. You start to, and these are the moments you need to stop and like kind of collect yourself and be like, why were they in the pods? Right? Question to the void. Why were they in the pods? Why would you need to can they not turn it off? I mean, they're like, psionics is like out of control. Psionics, like, I can't control my psionics, guy. Right? You think you'd run into one of these psionics people that couldn't control their psionics. You remember that movie called Scanners? Do you remember Scanners? Like, I was too young when that movie came out. It was like some kind of gory kind of movie or whatever. But Scanners is about people using their brains to blow other people's heads up or something like that. We'll have to look at Scanners again. Look up Scanners. I'll try to find some old footage. But yeah, that was like that was from way back, man. Yeah, Faraday cages. People are the size of cell phones now. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So that they can't phone home when they get suspicious, right? You remember Scanners, Memento? Yeah, they're right. There's supposedly people that can blow things up with their mind. I remember that because I had the poster. Like someone, like I think that was my California days, but when it came out, and we knew people in the movie industry and whatnot around us, and somebody gave me a Scanners poster, and I had it on my wall. I never saw the movie. I don't think I even wanted to see it, but I had the Scanners poster. I don't know why. So okay, don't worry, Heidi, we'll be here when you catch up. You remember Scanners? Michael Ironside. Yeah, there you go. So this sounds like Scanners to me. It sounds like a mix of Scanners and Mork and Mindy so far. Sprinkle a little Stephen Greer grifting on top, and you got yourself a nice omelet. There we go.
Know that there are operations Oconus outside.
We're only doing this part
where prospecting for psionic assets takes place, and they're highly coveted. And the interesting thing is Is
it's like Jedi kids. They're like looking. We must find the force sensitive ones.
Here in those programs that there's something valuable about the life experience in third world countries. In that, it seems as though people that live a simpler life and are outdoors more and have less contaminants in their food and their drugs and in their culture seem to be a little bit better at disassociating and heightening their intuition. And they come willingly because of the economic imbalance between where they come from. So what I really don't like about how that came out, and when Sean Ryan was there at the time with us in DC when this happened, and we talked about this, shortly after that is when Herrera went on his show, and the thing took a kind of a dark turn because the term human trafficking was slapped on this thing. And when you hear that, you think of slavery and sex trafficking and all these things. And it's my understanding that's not at all what goes on in these operations. It's no different than someone setting up any other type of business, and the people come willingly. The people that work in these programs, it's a great job. It's fun. Some of them have known their whole life that they have this intuition or this special talent, and they're socially awkward or have other pathologies, social pathologies that they're dealing with too, that somehow seems like it plays into this. So it's like not all the people that are talented in this way are normal in every other way. It's like God created some balance. So when they can come and get involved in this.
Hold on. All right. Levy says, what blew me away is that Jake Barber admitted he was hired to find any legit whistleblowers and shut them up. Oh, but now he's joined the good guys. Well, yeah, because look, Levy, when you want to shut up whistleblowers, the first thing you do is hire a helicopter pilot. Right, a crash retrieval helicopter pilot. That's the guy you want to go out there to sit in the crowd at Stephen Greer conferences and find whistleblowers to shut down. I mean, why would he go to the conference to shut him down? Shouldn't he have met him in the parking lot and beat him up? You're gonna shut up, boy. You're gonna shut up, boy. We're gonna take you out with our space lasers. Right? What's he doing in the damn audience? Was he buying tickets to Stephen Greer? And then when I saw him, his broad shoulders made me so. It's like, I mean, what? He became enthralled with this old story that the guy was telling again. He's been around for 10 years, didn't tell anybody, went on the Sean Ryan podcast. It turned dark into human trafficking. And now all of a sudden I'm at a Stephen Greer concert trying to shut down whistleblowers. And I decided to join the good guy team. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense to me. Yeah, and he just joined the good guy team, and so but to your point, this goes along. Now we're starting to make some connections into Greer's grift, right? And to say that he said, well, yeah, and they approached me about 20 months ago, right? And I've known them; they're my good friends now. They fly me in helicopters and stuff, and they were like, and they decided that what they were doing was unconstitutional, and they wanted to, stop this rogue underground group. So he's now he's like, this is the thing. I bet you behind the scenes, they're all in turmoil because they, people keep changing shit and going into business for themselves, as they call it in the wrestling business. You go into business for themselves, right? And they tweak the story and tweak the story and tweak the story, right? So this guy's tweaking out Herrera's story, from the drugs to human trafficking to psionic assets. Nobody's disputing the goddamn UFO and the Department of Energy Marines that are there. But okay, so now, and then Greer comes in behind him and goes into business for himself and says, oh yeah, and then because they're part of the rogue group that's been shooting down aliens for decades, and they steal their technology and they could destroy the entire Earth anytime they wanted to. But they only bring him out once a year to fly him around to fuck with people. And, that's the only reason why they still do it. And they're using 0-point energy to cook their microwave burritos down in underground bases even Stephen Greer said that they were experimenting. And so he gave himself some wiggle room with that experimenting on human assets, right? He didn't tell you exactly what the experiments were or why until this guy came out and started talking about psionics. Now it's going to change. I bet you, in this interview we're getting ready to listen to here in just a few minutes. And thank you for this, Levy. Thank you for adding to the show, man. I appreciate you being here. You're awesome. And we're going to find out that he's swayed it more. I remember I told you the first time he mentioned psionics, right? The first time he started talking about psionics was on the tail ends of this. And that was a kind of a minor league prediction there that now who's going to mention psionics, because he's now gotten the cue from Jake's story. And now he's going to build on that. And I really, and underneath all this, what I've been trying to figure out for a decade is how this how it works, how it all works in the UFO alien rabbit hole grift community, right? Do they meet and decide who's going to do what, or do they're just playing jazz, man? I'm pretty sure they're just playing jazz, right? So whatever somebody else says, you play a little jazz over that. You improv over it, right? You're going to improv, right? You're gonna do a little jazz on that thing, right? And then they got to take your lead, your improv, and they got to do a little improv on that. And I feel like that's the way this thing works. And if you start from the root base, you got the root base of everything, right? And then you start off with that, and you learn everybody's story. And the kid, if you look at my playlist, the UFO alien rabbit hole, did I rename that thing? I don't know what I called it now. What is it called? I might have renamed it. What are the podcasts at in this crazy world here? Podcasts. Okay. I don't even know why they're podcasts. All I did was change the thumbnail. Okay. Unveiling Reality, beginning to end, the alien UFO rabbit hole. All right. It's got 18 videos in it right now. This would be number 18 tonight. But if you go in there, super soldiers, right? The super soldier one, I don't know which one that is. Super soldier one, a kid, right? Decided he was going to get in on this community. So he learned the lore of the super soldiers. These are people that supposedly are super soldiers on other planets, or they're a part of an alien race. And they come with these stories about whether super soldiers, right? And they're implanted here for different reasons, or they have memories of being super soldiers, or they go into a dream state and they go back into their bodies in another dimension or some shit like that. I can't remember the entire story, but basically they're like the amazing super soldiers, right? And so this one guy is really profound at putting it out there. Drake Kent Bailey is another one who thinks he's a super soldier, right? And remember, that used to be the guy who said he was the militia. He's original Q. Tell us about the red light, green light. We got a plan. The military and the militia is going to work together to get Obama out and put Ron Paul in, right? That guy, Grifty McGrifton, right? He turned out to be a new age grifter. So so basically what he did was he learned lore, and then he came up with a story of his own about himself, and he got on the dude's podcast. He got on his podcast just by elaborating on his story and knowing what keywords to use in order to gain his attention. So I'm wondering if this is how it is. Like if like the struggle, and you see there's other people going on Joe Rogan's podcast, which that's one of the biggest that's the biggest podcast in the world, that are getting airtime talking about this shit. They're just coming up with stories, right? And I don't know, man. It's nuts. But I've always felt like, I'm like, I've always asked the question, how do they do this? How does everybody get together on this? Is there a club? Is there a Discord? Do they all talk about this shit? They work it out. Okay, look, you're gonna take this crummy footage of an egg and release it on NewsNation, and then I'm gonna say this over here, and then you say this over here, and then we'll do it like this, and we'll keep getting, making people believe that there's gonna be some disclosure. But the real thing we do is we kick the can down the road 2 to 3 years, 5 years every time. Now, I'm telling you right now, they're gonna blame Trump and the administration for disclosure not happening. This is where it's going, guys. And I think they do this every time, but I don't follow the establishment hacks, right? So I don't know. But I think that they're going to go in the backs of this drone announcement and say, well, Trump's been compromised, or, and they'll get all the new agey people against Trump. So is that for them, or is that for somebody else, right? Because the tragedy of the UFO rabbit hole, alien rabbit hole, is that when you get to the bottom of it, the people that are down at the abyss level, right, the people that stick with it, right, are deactivated. They're told, oh, just sit and wait. The aliens are going to come and they're going to save us all, and they're going to transform us and help us evolve into the 5th dimension or 6th or 7th dimension, or whatever the grifter wants to say at that point, right? And that they're going to help us evolve. So what you have to do is just live your best life. You have to be, do all these things. We have to stand up against nuclear energy and nuclear war. We have to do things like that. And we have to just wait for them to come, and we have to try to build a better world. So you have to express your energy in a certain way. You have to do certain new agey things, right? They're very devoid of God, right? They're very devoid of religion. But they say that you have to do certain new agey things and channel your energy and get your inner chakras together and all that shit. That's where this shit leads, right? It leads into this cultist type of adoption of new age ideas. and the age of Aquarius is coming, and we're going to all evolve together, and the aliens are going to come save us, and they're just protecting us because we're ruining our environment. So you need to be aware climate change is real. They go through all that shit, and pretty soon you're far left. That's what I found out when I took on the people with the Drake and Bailey stuff way back in the day, is that here comes Project Camelot in the door. Project Camelot's another UFO grifty group from like 10 years ago. They're still out there. They're minor league players, right? And they came in there and tried to call up that group into voting for Obama. A bunch of Ron Paul patriots, because Obama may be a flipperoo. Obama may have been, because the neocons are going to deny Ron Paul, we need to vote for Obama now. That's what they ended up coming out. We tore them up. We sent them running and crying in one single meeting. We destroyed them. And who was leading the charge? This guy. That's right. I took on Project Camelot and I ran their asses out away from the Ron Paul crowd so fast you wouldn't believe it. Of course, it was easy that they sounded like they were full of shit. But I was the first one. I threw the first punch, man. I didn't stop. This motherfuckers were running down the street. They were kicked out of the group before you knew it. They were gone. Coming there trying to swipe up Ron Paul people for your stupid communist Marxist bullshit, New Age stuff. Man, get the hell out of here. Rep Lumina drop on X, big announcement next week, so that'll change the nation. God, I hope so. Man, that's the one way to identify grift like QAnon's trust the plan crap. Though, yeah, well, Memento, yeah, Drake is the one that came up with trust the plan. That he was the original one. He was just 2011. Red light, green light, blue, red light, green light, yellow light. I'll let you know, stand down. The militia, we're going to the perp walks, the mass arrests. These all came from Drake. Drake was a master at this stuff, but he got snagged because he got too far into the alien rabbit hole. He started merging that shit in. And like I said, in come the grifters, in came this militia types. I'm pretty sure there was a Fed informant in there. I don't know if he really is or not. He got the reputation of it. I talked to him one time. He was this dude who's the head of the Texas militia or something like that. Jacob Castro, how's it going? And he seemed like a nice guy. I mean, he seemed like a nice guy, but I think he was there to grift out for the militia. They were trying to get people to join militias, right? And I don't know if that was an attempt to get them to join militias so that they can then activate them to go down to, say the Capitol, But see, Ron Paul wasn't that big of a threat. And he got taken out in the primaries by the neocons. That's why, I always stress about how dangerous the neocons are and how we can never give up our ground. We can never give the GOP back to them. I hate Republicans. Yeah, you ever had the neocons in there? You'd rather have the neocons in there. You better vote Republican, man. You better. That's the only base group that's out there right now. And I don't care what you think about them growing up, because those aren't the same Republicans. It's changed, right? And it changed through hard work and dedication and sleepless nights and a lot of defeats and a lot of setbacks and a lot of people working their asses off to try to beat those MFers out the door. And we finally did it. So don't give up ground, man, because if they ever get that false upright paradigm going again, they'll slam the door, shut it, lock it, and we'll never have another chance like we have right now to change and keep our country great. So mean it. Stay based, and don't jump the sharks. Don't believe in any kind of grifty 4chan bullshit coming at you. Don't believe in Drake and Bailey's or Dr. Stephen Greer's. Don't think the aliens are going to save you. It takes your effort to be part of the fight too. And that's what I got to say about that. Okay, let's finish this up.
And shelter and be treated with respect and make money. Like if you went down there on your high horse representing the United States and morality and went in and tried to liberate these people, they'd be like, get out of here. We don't want to be liberated. This is our job.
Can I play devil's advocate for 1 second? I think in the Michael Herrera testimony, he thought that whatever organization this paramilitary group was from was taking advantage of the fact that Indonesia was this disaster zone.
Right.
And some of these people can go missing easily.
Yes.
And so that to me sounds
that's one theory. Or the hurricane, the natural disaster was actually threatening a workspace for this operation and they needed to get the hell out of Dodge.
Got it.
I have no firsthand experience with that operation, nor direct contact with anyone involved with it. I know of that operation. I know of that craft. I know of those containers, and I know of operations that sounded like. And so the whole point of all this, and let me put a big giant red bow on it for you, is that this was one I saw a good Marine up there when I saw Mike. I saw a brother in arms doing his best to be put now with a microphone in his face in a fucking suit and tie in Washington, D.C., when he's cut out to be carrying a saw through the jungle, and now he's doing his best, and he's an honest, good guy, and I was going to let him hang. So I sidebarred Greer and a bunch of other people and said, we need to talk about this. I thanked Michael. And I have been loyal to him throughout the process and trying to help him as much as I can get support for this, while also trying to stay low key to figure out where the problems and landmines are with this issue. And this issue was brought up to the entire incident was brought up with my corroborations, and my additional information was presented to Sean Kirkpatrick's version of Arrow. He patently denied it and wrote it off as anti-interesting, and there was no evidence. And I know for a fact that Sean Kirkpatrick has admitted outside of the office of Arrow directly to members of the Senate Intelligence Committee that it did in fact happen exactly as reported by Michael Herrera and with my additions.
That's absolutely
2023, 20 months. So yeah, okay, there you go. So that's Greer's story now. So now we see the connection. Good. I'm glad. I'm still saying, well, I don't understand why they don't acknowledge something. There still seems to be some disconnect. But again, I think they're playing jazz off each other's stories. I think that's what the way this works. I'm still trying to figure that part out. But we'll figure it out together. And so that would be, this is that they approached me like 20 months ago. So yeah, about 20 months ago, probably would be at this conference, right? So he's there to silence whistleblowers. He falls in love with Michael Herrera, and he decides that he can't do it any longer. And then he pulls Stephen Greer and team aside and tells him this thing. Now, I when I say the words come out of my mouth, right? And then I think back to that kid who learned the lore, who got involved. He found out a way to create a story for himself, and then approached the master, and said, this is my story. And of course, he's buying it because it's fueling his narrative. So Barber creates a narrative based on the things that he's heard, right? He adopts the Herrera story. He adopts the Greer grift. He combines it into his military experience in crash retrievals, right? And then he says, this is the way that I could get $6.6 million too. I mean, dude, I could use $6.6 million right now. I got to tell you, I really could. I really could. And if people are going to be idiots and believe this stuff anyways, I guess there's a way to justify that in your mind. My goal is kind of like, future betterment. I don't know that this helps the future better, but the president, I guess $6.6 million would help my generations of my family pretty good too, wouldn't it? What is this world about, people? Sometimes I just wonder. Sometimes I wonder what is really going on here. Is it just about trying to get shit over on other people? Is it just really trying to, hold on a second. Is it just about trying to all right, is it just about trying to get over on people and make as much money off them as possible? Is that what it is? You could use 3K right now. See, we could all use some money right now. You guys want to become conspiracy grifters? Let's become a cult of conspiracy grifters, right? Well, I'll delete the video so no one will ever know it's out there. I'll take it down on all platforms. I'll make a little plan here to go forward, right? Right, yes, let's do it, right? We can all use some money, right? Let's all get in on it. Yeah, mass abduction. We could be the mass abduction people. You want to be the mass abduction people? We were mass abducted. Some of us have psionic abilities. Other of us are well versed in the protocols of CE5 contact. We're creating a new psionic CE5 contact, and I'm leading the way because, like I said, I've been contacted by these aliens because they're ready to move and they need more people involved. Yes, in the past they've gotten to get probed, y'all. Basic human nature, everyone is scripting. Is that the way it is, Memento? Is that the way it is? Well, shouldn't there be an equally, there has to be balance in the universe, right? Shouldn't there be an equal opportunity for degrifters? Like, how come we get the short end of the stick, right? We should be getting to $6 million too, right? This shit takes more effort than coming up with bullshit. It really does. Oh, where are we going? We're going right here. Okay. Sorry, guys. These things. The things about these videos, this series, and doing these videos is I can just take one little piece of it and go off for a long time. I really got to use self-control. We're only going to get through half of this. I'm almost tempted to start right where I want to, because the first 22 minutes is kind of a rehash. But we have to hear it because it's going to be about it's going to connect to the barber story. So we have to hear it. So we'll get through it. And when we don't get through, we'll get through next time, I guess. And then he'll have more shit to talk about by then. I don't know. Maybe we don't need to hear the whole thing, I'll listen to the other half of it afterwards and say, well, we need this to go with the series, right? Because it's all about completing the series. And maybe one day somebody comes across this playlist and decides they're going to, they need it. It's like they're getting ready to commit their life to Dr. Stephen Greer and send him a bunch of money. And they see this and they're like, you just saved me from giving my entire fortune over to these people. All right. Where's our equity? Where's our equity? That's equal outcome. I just want equal opportunity to make some money. Let's go. I don't know. Do I have it? Maybe I already have it. So I'm really good at going silent. I just haven't shown it yet. My kids say it's scary. I don't want to scare anybody. HB1 is the new protocol to summon humans. So there you go. Summon aliens. Yeah. We got eggs flying everywhere, dude. We got so many eggs you can make an omelet. We got the eggs, man, no problem. We got eggs. But see, the big thing is the alien chicken that lays them. That's what you got to do, because it's really just a self-replicating technology, as Stephen Greer talks about it all the time. So it's completely real, right? It's completely real. And this is self-replicating. That's what the rogue underground, deep underground rogue group that has hijacked alien technology. Those bastards have to stop, or else the aliens are going to come get us. And so the self-replicating technology produces these eggs, you see, and then the psionic, HP1, our HP1 is able to either summon them in and invite them in as ambassadors, or take them over and drive them if they are part of that rogue group. If it's one of those the human-made ones, we can take it over with our minds, and that's how we tell the difference. You see, we're the evolution of everything you've heard so far, and more. We are the next step. We are the real deal. We are the real deal. Like, we take everything and we pull it together. We are the evolution. And as Stephen Greer gets old and dies and retires, we'll be taking the reins from him and running to a $12 million future like you wouldn't believe, because you need $12 million to fight aliens. You really do. I mean, to save aliens and to fight bad guys that are deep underground with alien technology. It takes about 12 million. And I think when we hit 12 million, we'll be able to defeat them. And that's the real thing, right? That's the real thing. And you can't listen to the government. They're all paid off. You can't listen to them. You got to listen to us, right? You got to listen to our group. Truth that doesn't give dopamine release. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you get dopamine release if you give money to the truth. That may help the dopamine get released. I don't know. Being honest doesn't pay as well as grifting. I know. It's because people want to be conned and scammed out of their money and their time and their effort, don't they? Leave it up to them and then do a heel turn anyways. People love that crap. No rhyme or reason, just drama. Yeah. I'm going to turn on everything, so my son's future is totally screwed. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Actually, I don't have any control of it either way, do I? But you never know. You never know. All right, so let's get into this next part here. Let's make sure we got winning speed going on here. And I'm going to let the first part of this roll for about up to 22. I'm going to comment in the background on it, but I'm not going to stop it because I'll just run my mouth. All right, there we go.
Release these. How big of a disruption will it be to the world? It's chaos on top of chaos.
So let's just say that the people I've been meeting with since the election, who are around central to the administration, number one, don't know anything about the subject.
I mean, this is bigger than preventing big pharma from advertising on TV.
Oh, this is massive. But also, what's the human future without it? He offered me personally in May of 1992 $2 billion if I would join his team and not do what I've been doing. And I was in my 30s. And as a young doctor, I thought, well,
you know how hard that is to believe.
Anyone who's seen Unacknowledged knows more than the people around the president on this.
Such as who?
How could that even be possible? Okay, I'll stop. Anybody who's watched my video and paid to view it, I'm sure it's free by now, knows more than most of the government All you have to do is watch my video.
Dr. Just a few days ago, we hear from a Congressman Burchett saying that there's possibilities of underwater UFOs. Underwater UFOs, yeah, and they move at 100 miles an hour, and they're massive, and this and that. So today, Stephen Greer gave his perspective on that. We also talked about how Stephen Greer, his entire life's been dedicated to UFOs, unidentified objects. All these things is what he's been, committing his entire life to. So I said, how confident are you that Trump's administration, with Ratcliffe, Hex, and others, are going to pursue this? His answer wasn't what I expected. I also selfishly wanted to ask him a little bit more. I showed him this clip, a deleted footage of the 1969 moon landing, wanted to get his reaction to it, where you'll see something happens on the back end. And he gave me a complete different story on what he thinks happened to the moon landing, which I think you'll get a kick out of. Having said that,
I bet I will.
If you love Stephen Greer's work, what he talks about, you know what kind of an audience you are. If you like that kind of stuff, you're probably going to be glued to the screen today. And I challenge him on something about the fact that somebody offered him $2 billion from the U.S. government, a 2-star general. I pushed him on a little bit. You'll see what his response was on why somebody from the government would give you $2 billion or offer to give you $2 billion. Having said that, I think you're going to enjoy this podcast here with Stephen Greer.
You promise? See, that's the whole thing. Is like I would be like just shredding him, like you're lying to everybody. And he's like, "What do you know?" I kind of push him a little bit, and that way he'll come back on my show, and I'll get all those clicks and views. See, I'm terrible at this job. I'm very bad at this. Thank you for the super chat, Talking Trash Juice, $10. Waiting for the dopamine, TikTok. There you go. You got it. That's the dopamine right there. That's the thing. And if you got the more, I'll give you dopamine all night long. All right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We could all be star children. Yeah. It's the indigo children. We are indigo children. Don't you know that? I did a whole thing on that. That's in the playlist too. The indigo kids. Indigo kids. Indigo kids. We are the indigo kids. Some of you guys are rainbow kids and some are crystal kids, but we're all from other places. We're star seeds. We're here to help the planet heal and evolve so the aliens can come take us away from all our problems like Calgon in a bath, nice warm bath. All right, here we go. 30 seconds. Did you ever think you would make it? No. Here I am. I am the guy who wears a suit. Look at that. He's got Mike Tyson. This guy gets to talk to everybody because he's got a nice suit.
But we're back at it again. This is what, 3 or 4? I think it's one of them, right?
Three.
This is 3. Fantastic.
He's been on there 3 times. He's gotten 3 times. This dude's come on. See, I think that people just don't. Yeah, I'm a little too hard on the grifters, man. I should learn to warm up to them and let them make their money, and they can help me make my money. This is why I am not wealthy. I'm too principled to be wealthy. That's just the problem in it.
And last one, we talked about the Secrecy Act of 1951, right?
Right.
The Invention Secrecy Act of 1951, because the documentary that you did, what was the documentary called?
The Lost Century.
Lost Century, which was
The
fascinating
Lost
to me. I had everybody
Century.
let me watch that documentary.
We found it.
And fascinating. Today, you have some sensitive things you want to share with the audience, sensitive and confidential.
Everything's
You mind if I show them this folder?
sensitive.
Just
Yeah.
go ahead. Sure. You have some sensitive and confidential things that we're going to go through, okay? Because of what we're going right now with new
That's a 320 page, by the way.
administration being in
I
there.
love the beautiful cover that they managed to put on this thing. Like it's like right out of Staples,
Curious to know what new updates you have. A lot of weird things have been going on. Some will call them psyops.
Yeah.
Some will call them a regular Tuesday. But from the moment last time we were together was what, 5 months ago, Rob? It's
A regular Tuesday. Does that mean like art?
something like that. Let me see.
Summer.
A lot's changed
I'm
since
gonna
last
stop.
time. This is what the point I'm trying to make. So what is new? What is the latest with things that are going on with Trump, specific to the topics you and I discussed last time?
Well, in advance of the election, there was a team of people who worked at black sites or
I'm here.
covert sites known as UAPs. They first reached out to me in the spring of 2023. But as things went forward, they decided they were going to move out of those legacy, they call them legacy programs, dealing with UFOs, which are illegal projects. And they know they're criminal and illegal projects, and come forward. Now, initially, they were going to come forward just with evidence. They have a whole tranche of evidence because they've been pilots and people on the crash retrieval and picking up the non-human craft, the extraterrestrial vehicles, and they have then transported them, and they were the transport and security team. So they have people that apparently there's 6 black sites they've been working with. They went from
here's what he
initially
adds
wanting to
to it.
release all that information and data which is what our thinking was
He's
until
talking
November.
nothing about
And
Barber's
then
nothing about
they decided they
black
would come forward publicly. So the first of them has recently unmasked himself, Jake Barber, and a couple of other guys. I've known them for about a year and a half, a little over, almost 2 years. And they're people who have had hands-on with the crash retrieval of these objects. Now, they're not wanting to release much evidence. They released a few seconds of one of his colleagues, not his, but Jake Barber's colleagues, picking up an egg-shaped extraterrestrial vehicle out of the desert, which I sent to you. Now that was one of many retrieval operations. So the teams that do these retrievals are tasked with not only retrieving non-human craft, but when we have a sensitive classified aircraft go down, they also work on retrieving those. So I had been before at his site. So September of 2023, I went out there with the director of a special access project under law enforcement to see what they had out there and fly over that facility, and actually was able to go over. This is a very interesting. It's in the material I gave you. This is from a shot right above the underground opening where man-made UFOs come up out of the ground.
And where's that located at?
This is the Lockheed Skunk Works out in the Edwards complex in, where Edwards Air Force Base is in the high desert.
Right.
So you have out there, you have the Edwards complex that includes Edwards Air Force Base. To the south, you have the Lockheed Skunk Works facilities and the test range. And to the north, you have the Northrop Grumman test range, the Tejon Ranch. Now, I've known about these since the early 1990s, before this gentleman and his team were assigned there. That was only about 20 years ago. But those are key areas for a couple of operations. And he has admitted to some of this publicly already. One is the tracking and targeting of the non-human craft and the interception of them, and then striking them with electromagnetic pulse weapons that bring them down. Sometimes they crash hard, sometimes they're settled down pretty softly, and they're intact. So both occur. And at one site that we were in, I was told that about one or two of these non-human craft are brought down every year. That site's been operational for about 40 years since the
40 years. It's 80 a year.
At the other site, a similar number. So they're about
160 a year.
Sure how many?
160. Hold on. No, 160 over the course of time.
Desert. So I've been
160 overall UFOs have been brought down from two sites since the 40s or whatever. Since, what do you say? 2 a year. Yeah, 2 a year for 40 years. That's 80 at each site. So each site has brought down 80 UFOs since it's been there with electromagnetic weapons, right? So you have 160 UFOs brought down by electromagnetic. What are we worried about? These aliens are pussies. They're pussies.
Been in a number of these sites. We know they exist all over the world. I know that the president and the people in Congress, when I first returned from that, and
oh look, I can just drive right over and check this one out. Plant 4, and I guess what the other one in Georgia doesn't have a number. Why don't we get one? Why don't we get one? The Skunk Works. I mean, it's a skunk, dude. It stinks. All right.
Gave them the footage of, because I took my own footage of this opening at this black site. The Senate Intelligence Committee guys didn't even know it existed. And this is one of the problems. So you have operations going forward. I mean, the pop culture term now would be deep state, I guess.
The pop culture
very
term.
Secretive
God, I want to smack him when he says
where neither the president nor the Congress are adequately briefed on it, which is very dangerous. And we'll get into
the pop culture term. He's above this. Like, look, I want you guys to listen to one thing as he talks. Try to figure out who he voted for. That's all.
Why this is so dangerous. Luckily, there are people now coming forward from that world. And, we did not expect them to come out and name themselves because that's extremely dangerous. There has been a fatality in the team.
How recent?
Recent, the last few months.
Talking about the bombing,
we
know
that
the
this
Cybertruck
is serious stuff.
Wasn't
and,
true.
I take it very seriously. They do. So they're being very careful. So they have enormous amount of evidence that's being held back pending the executive orders from the White House and the new president, as well as some actions from the Congress that we've been recommending for quite some time. The irony of this, if you go into our archive, anyone can do this. You can go to Disclosure Project Intelligence Archive, DPI archive.com. And if you go to dpiarchive.com, we've scanned in, enormous quantity of material from 35 years of research. So as a medical doctor, I looked at this, and as a scientist, I said, what do we need to
hold on? Are medical doctors
so that people
scientists?
they can get on the internet
He's not a
can
scientist.
discover all
He didn't
of
go to
this,
school for
and it's there.
science.
It's all sitting there.
Not for medicine.
So you'll see that even back in 1993 and 4, I briefed the director of the CIA for Bill Clinton in 1993 in December, because he took office.
He denies it though. But
by
he
94,
denies
95, Clinton had stood up. Bill Clinton, the president, had stood up an operation to try to get to the bottom of this, which was not successful for reasons I can go into, which is tragic actually.
Do it.
But
Go into it.
those the recommendations that we have released that were my recommendations to the Clinton administration are virtually identical to what
Oh, so you're lazy as
transmitted
fuck.
over
You're
to
cutting
Mr.
pasting,
Trump. And
is what you're saying.
How different do you think, and maybe why? How different do you think the President Trump's administration will approach? Finally, hey, we're going to find out about John F. Kennedy assassination, MLK, RFK. Do you think this is the next phase that we're going to find things out under his administration? And if yes, why?
Well, I'll tell you, it's all in play. So let's just say that the people I've been meeting with since the election who are around central to the administration, number one, don't know anything about the subject, which is dangerous.
The people that are directly working with them don't know anything about the subject.
Anyone who's seen
did you hear that,
unacknowledged knows more
Elon?
than the
Hear
people
that?
around the president on this.
Such as who?
I don't want to get into names, but they're completely.
Well, I would want to know.
Yeah, you don't want to
whose
get into
jurisdiction would
liability.
this
do
be
you?
under?
Well, it'd be under. It would. Well, obviously, it'd be under Homeland Security. It would be under the director.
Hexet, or
it'd be under SecDef. It would be under Hexet. It would certainly be under the Director of National Intelligence. It would be under the Attorney General because of law enforcement issues in the continental United States. Now, it would also cross the desk of the National Security Advisor, Mr. Waltz, and it would be certainly important for the incoming DCI, CI Director Ratcliffe. Now, Ratcliffe, my understanding is, does have some knowledge about this from the legacy operations, but it's something that he's trying to figure out how to handle. But we do know that there are also very good drafts of the executive orders to help make this happen smoothly and give amnesty to a number of these whistleblowers, but also amnesty to people who have been in these, what they are called legacy programs or illegally run programs from the past. It started in the 40s and 50s, and have a glide path out for them where they wouldn't be prosecuted. And I've been in favor of that for a long time. I have colleagues who think, no, you have to go after a pound of flesh. I said, no. I said, an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind on this one, because you're dealing with a group of people who have power that exceed that of the White House and the normal Pentagon operations, because they have reverse engineered technologies that are thousands of years in advance from extraterrestrial vehicles. You do not want to get into a shooting war with that kind of operation.
Come on, Patrick, nail him on that.
Our recommendation is to identify the people that are now starting to come forward who've been in these legacy programs. They know they've been run unconstitutionally and illegally, and create a pathway for them to come forward safely, be protected both physically, but also legally. Now that's going to take the new FBI director and more importantly, the Attorney General to work out, Pam Bondi, assuming she gets confirmed. And it will certainly take some executive orders from POTUS, from President Trump. So at that point, a lot can happen very, very quickly.
Where do you see the level of interest in wanting to know this? Because everything's about the level of interest of an administration, right?
Correct.
Where's the level of interest with them?
Well, look, in the couple of months since the election, right? I mean, it's been just chaos trying to put that together. And so I have gone to various meetings to provide information initially. And I know others are doing that. Unfortunately, some of the others doing it are known counterintelligence operatives who are providing false information. So I, briefly had a quick chat with Don Jr. at a meeting, and he had been taken in by a known counterintelligence person named Lou Elizondo, who is someone working to intercept these whistleblowers. And
okay, real quick, Lou is part of Team Ross on NewsNation. Right? They love him over there. So there you have that. He doesn't like Ross. He doesn't like Lou, and he doesn't like NewsNation. And when hold on a second. Let me get my mic straight here real quick. All right, here we go. All right. And when Stephen doesn't like somebody, he doesn't mention their name and he doesn't address them correctly. All right. Pay attention to that as well. Here we go.
And then
you seem to be a big fan of his. It's what I hear.
No, Elizondo is a paid disinformation person. And
how convinced are you of that?
100%. I have an email from the top guy at the CIA who was there when Ronald Reagan wanted to know about this when he was running for governor, who was a very young postdoc, and he immediately wrote and said this is what he's doing. Now, recently, Mr. Elizondo has started saying more correct information. Initially, he said, all of these objects out here, we don't know what they are or how they fly. Now he's admitting we have the man-made ones. And I'll tell you, the vast majority of UFOs people see, they're not from outer space. They're not alien. They're ours. but they have dangerously been used in false flag operations and deceptive operations.
Yeah, because that's what you do when you have 1,000-year technology ahead of everybody on Earth.
Indication and warning, or deceptive INW. The pop culture would be false flag, which means you just set up a decoy, you set up a false operation. So that was his primary responsibility when he first emerged, was to gaslight officials, gaslight Congress, and intercept witnesses.
That's a job, right? So
it's a very big job, and there are a lot of people like that out there in what we call the legacy UFO subculture. They're embedded.
That would be
they're not
you,
going to wear a sign to say, "Hey, I'm from, this operation." But
is it an actual, is there actually a undisclosed division where your job is to gaslight and confuse people, or is it
absolutely,
or is it everyone's job to gaslight and distract? Because like the opposite of a marketing, how like the propaganda book that was written, the opposite of marketing, which is you're marketing a lie to confuse the American people, so they're looking here versus here. You're saying there's a division of people that do that intentionally.
Yes, it's a whole counterintelligence, psychological warfare operations out of CIA and other agencies, and that's what they do. And I've known some of these players since the early 90s. One of them that had been involved back in those days was had been head of Special Forces and Army Intelligence named General Albert Stubblebine.
Here we go.
He offered me personally in May of 1992.
Here we go.
$2 billion if I would join his team and not do what I was doing.
Comes the hot sauce.
And I was in my 30s, and as a young doctor, I thought, well, it's
$2 billion.
Yes.
You know how hard that is to believe?
I don't care if I'm under a lie detector. Ask my wife. We're having our 46th.
That's his comeback. That's his comeback. I don't care. Ask my wife. Ask my wife. She'll tell you. Yeah, she's got $6.6 million. She'll tell you anything.
Anniversary this year. That's what happened. And he approached her. But you have to understand the money involved.
He approached your wife? Come on. Don't you want $2 billion? You can do a lot with $2 billion. No, we don't want $2 billion. No. Not back here in the 90s. No way. You could say I got an email from Elvis. Doesn't make it true.
Why is this so secret? It either exists or it doesn't exist. It does exist. How could it be kept so secret? And this is a long discussion to get into of what the modus operandi is of counterintelligence.
2 hours.
But, it's through bribery, blackmail, threats, wet works, targeted killings, assassinations.
You know why $2 billion is hard to believe? Because the only reason he would have gone to $2 billion is because you kept saying no to 50 million, 10 million, 100 million, 200 million, and it eventually goes to $2 billion.
No, because they knew, okay, let's cut to something that's very controversial.
Okay. We are watching technique here. Okay. Remember, that's what we're doing. That's what an investigation's about. Right? Hold on. All right. We're watching his technique now. What he usually does here is avoid the question. So now he's going to go off on a story. This is par for the course right now. All right. So let's just pay attention and see if he gets back to it. We'll see what Patrick does as an interviewer if he holds his feet to the fire. Right. The problem is that people like Greer sprinkle a little bit of truth, but he totally believes that there are people in the government whose solid job is to distract. Hey, look over here. Well, yeah, and by the way, I was thinking the same thing. USAID, wouldn't the money for all this stuff be going through them? I was thinking the same thing, Shelley. All right, let's continue here. Remember to watch the technique.
This is what's starting to come out through these black sites where they have operators that target the non-human craft.
Okay, we're talking about the $2 billion. All right, remember this.
So if you go back to 1991, I published a paper called The Comprehensive Assessment of the UFO/ETI subject, extraterrestrial intelligence subject. In
1991, remember this crowd right here, this show right here, we have gone back and gone through all the history. Okay. We've gone through Stephen Greer's timeline. All right. We haven't just taken things that were, we haven't just sit here and listen like we want this to be true. Right. We went back to his timeline. And we know that near-death experience, then off to college, meditating in a field, UFO comes, he gets picked up, creates the protocols for CE5 contact, then starts a new age group. Now you can go to Wiki and other places and look at his timeline. That's the group that he started in the 90s. Okay. Now all this other shit that he's learned, he couldn't have known that back then. He couldn't have known about all this stuff back then. Yet he constantly contradicts himself by saying he does, and then in a world of where it's impossible, right? So he's saying that somehow he knew this off the bat before even getting involved in disclosure and any of this other stuff. It was just the CE5 protocol, the new age group that was trying to contact aliens, where we got a bunch of college students together and try to convince them that, you know, these are aliens, right? And probably use laser pointers back then. Who knows? But anyways, let's let him get back to it. But just kind of confirming his story and letting you know that we know his backstory. And this is where he starts to screw up on the timeline almost every time, right? That, you know, we needed a protocol to contact aliens, even though he was on an alien ship, right? And they had already been able to contact him and already been able to find him and already been able to do all this other stuff, right? Never mention of psionics until recently with him, all this other stuff, right? So, so we know his timeline. We know this part doesn't make sense. I'm just wondering if Patrick's going to catch him here or not.
It went all through the intelligence community and the aerospace community. And part of in that paper was a description of the technologies that are non-human, where they interface with very advanced electromagnetic fields for communication with thought. It's sort of be like what Elon Musk is trying to do with Neuralink.
I told the story on this last podcast.
The speed of light, where there's a direct interface between the conscious field and thought and a machine. That is how non-human civilizations
invoke Elon
across the vastness of space-time, and it's done through a trans-dimensional electronic system. So I knew this in 1973 after I had a very close encounter with these civilizations. So when I wrote this paper,
so back in the 70s, right? And then he went on with medical school, right? And he went to be a doctor, and then in the 90s he started this stuff, right? So many years later, he started this whole UFO thing. And I think it was because he's like, man, I'm never going to get these goddamn medical college bills paid off, right? He probably had a lot of debt. And it's like, well, I could just do this stuff. Look at all the money I can make from just convincing people that I can talk to aliens.
Described it as in two directions, TAC and CAT. So technology assisted consciousness, where you have a technology like the headset you're wearing that would augment your own conscious abilities. And everyone's heard of those CIA remote viewing programs and things like this, where they were using people like Ingo Swann to see with consciousness.
Men who stare at goats.
It's like psychic psionic. And a lot of people laugh at that. And I said, no, it's a legit science. And it was done for 30 years at the CIA with a team of people. I know quite a few.
Called psionics so recently.
Imagine having a technology that augments that capability, then reverse it. Then imagine that there's the other way around, where you have your own consciousness can augment a technology. So it flows both directions, from technology to mind and back. Now, what is that? Now, the science of consciousness is very controversial, but people like Dr. John at Princeton started the Princeton.
Hey, what's up, Roscoe? How you doing,
Research
man?
Group, the Peer Lab.
There you are.
And they were able to prove using quantum machines.
Dr. John, he's a great piano player, I'll tell you that.
Random number generators, that people could just sit and put their awareness on this type of machine, and it would shift the curve of whether it was spitting out zeros or ones. It was
psychokinesis and remote viewing. You guys see the word psionics anywhere in here? I don't see psionics anywhere.
Just a digital.
It's characterized as pseudoscience.
Machine, right? Spitting out, it's a random number generator is what it's called. And they were able to prove to a scientific certainty that that's true, that there's field consciousness. Now, we're taught in science, and I'm speaking now as a doctor, that it's...
But again, are doctors scientists? I mean, are we talking about like, suddenly you're a scientist because you're a doctor? Wouldn't you be more of a biologist than a scientist? I mean, I guess biology is a science, right? I guess that's how he's coming to the conclusion he's a scientist somehow. But now he's an astrophysics. Doctors are physicists too, right? They understand things like this. I mean, I love the way he just blends that all together. Well, I'm a doctor, so I'm a doctor. I'm a scientist. And it's a medical science. It's very different from astroscience and physics and shit like he's talking about. But as a scientist, I looked at it this way. Speaking as a doctor,
it's all locked in our skull and our brain. But there's something that is beyond that is consciousness. And some people say, oh, spirit. Well, you can call it whatever you want. But it's the consciousness field, and it can be scientifically accessed.
You can call it spirit if you want.
Back when this was discovered in the 40s and 50s, was to figure out how that could be used for communications and also tracking of the NHI, non-human intelligence craft, or ET craft.
That's right, Wanda. That's right. Good to see you.
I had developed my own techniques for doing that. If you look, we have an app called CE5 Contact that teaches this. And a lot of people go, that's pretty far out stuff.
This is it. Yep. Wolfram, you're on it, man. This is what he does every time. And he's been asked a direct question. But I'm telling you that this is the cool part about this interview right here, at least the part that I got through, is Patrick's going to make him go back and he's going to hold his feet to the fire. I want to see how he gets out of it next time. Right now he's doing his his standard practice, which is to go into a long winding story about his past and about other people. Nothing to do with $2 billion. Nothing to do with it.
I said, well, what do you think you're dealing with? You're dealing with Ma Bell when you're dealing with an interstellar civilization that's 100,000 or 1,000,000 years more advanced than we are.
Yeah, they're so advanced we can shoot them down twice a year or 4 times a year, because remember, there's 2 sites now. He keeps going back and forth between 1 site and 2 site, by the way. That's the thing that I always catch him on too. Some interviews it's 1 site, some interviews it's 2.
So I think that, one of the big problems is the gap between current science and technology.
You see this right here? Where's he pulling this from? I don't know where he's pulling it from. Probably from a Greer site. But yeah, this is a CE5 thing.
What's known in classified programs dealing with this. So the head of Army Intelligence knew I understood all this. And I guess they had people seeing what we were doing and that we had successfully made contact with these objects. Famously, the first one that was publicly known and published was in Pensacola, where we had 60 people out and we were using this technology to make contact. And then 4 of these craft pop into the sky. One of them ended up on the front page of the Pensacola paper.
The technology is a bunch of people meditating on the beach. You can see the video.
So it was then that these guys surfaced, General Stubblebine and some other people. So,
okay, well, if it was back in the day, then they didn't have the video, didn't have it taped. So they said they're using this technology, but is that the CE5 protocols? And another interview, he says that no, we are supposed to be ambassadors. We're not. I mean, its own podcast. Remember, it was a podcast 2 or 3. It's probably, I think it was podcast 2, where he was like, no, we're supposed to be ambassadors. We shouldn't force ourselves onto these aliens. We're supposed to be ambassadors and help bring them in, even though they can come pick us up on their crafts anytime they want to. But we have to have this protocol because it's really important, because that way you buy the app, go to the website, go buy the Griff Cruise tickets for thousands of dollars and donate to $6.6 million man, Stephen Greer.
I think the value, I don't think I'm important in this at all. I think
I'm still stuck on $2 billion.
See, he's going to nail him right here. I got to say, yeah, I don't think I'm important in this at all, but you are the head of the snake when it comes to this shit.
Because to me,
that's nothing to these guys.
Well, but no, hear me out. Rob, can you pull up the stubble?
Hear me out on this. No. Pull this up.
If you don't mind. Fun fact about this guy, he was born on February 6th and he died on February 6th. And Ronald Reagan was born, I believe, on February 6th. If you can go up to, okay, so here's this is the person that offered you $2 billion.
Correct.
So U.S. Army General, active duty, spent 32 years.
There he is, $2 billion man.
Intelligence, he's credited redesigning U.S. Army intelligence. Okay, over the course of it became widely known that he maintained a keen interest in psychic warfare throughout his career. He sought to develop an army of soldiers with special powers, such as the ability to walk through walls. Whoa. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Yep. So, U.S. Military Academy, 1951, Columbia University. So he's an educated guy. Go a little bit lower. Army officer, military intelligence. Got it. Lived to 87. Awards, Distinguished Service Medal, Legion of Merit and Bronze Star, Air Medal, Respect, Cold War, Vietnam War, Invasion of Grenada. Okay, so this is qualified as it gets. A key sponsor of Stargate Project. Maryland, someone was convinced of the reality of a wide variety of psychic phenomena. Keep going lower, Rob. His interest at the bottom, he was interested in UFOs and parapsychology. Was a member of Oath Keepers. He and his wife, Rima, were active in Patriot movement and appeared together guests on Alex Jones' show. And they established a nonprofit organization called Natural Solutions, which disseminated conspiracy theories about vaccinations, pharmaceutical companies, and genetically modified foods. 9/11, he claimed the airplane did not crash into the Pentagon.
Really? We did a deep dive on that. You can see it.
Believe that an airplane did not crash in the Pentagon on September 11th. He said he did not know what did. Okay. And then on the bottom, the swine flu, he believed, was a genetically engineered virus that is part of a World Health Organization scheme to
see. And this is the problem, man. When you jump the shark on things, when you're over the target on some things, they just get discredited, right? That's why the shark jumping and the trying to do too much. I mean, specialize in one thing. Look, there you go. The Men Who Stared at Ghosts. I called that one out. I just said that. Was a fictional adaptation of Ronson's book. Okay. Yeah, we know that. We know that. We know that because we know that our good friend Bahala Waite was involved in that at some point. In fact, he came on the show and talked to us all about it. Maybe I'll try to find a clip. Maybe it'd be great if Bahala was here. I could play the clip with him here, but I might just play the clip.
Sterilize.
And that's how he got into goats, by the way. If you didn't know, that's the story. All right.
Told number of people. So he offered you $2 billion. So,
well, he was representing a group that had that access.
So you were 30 years old. They wanted to give you $2 billion.
No, in '92 I would have been 36.
I already did a deep dive on that, man.
So you know why?
In my playlist, how to decrypt
horrible bosses, where they say, "Hey, we're trying to kill our bosses," and they said, "You got to go talk to motherfucker Jones." And they go and the guy they're negotiating with, they say, "I want to take out our bosses, $50,000," and then he says, $500, I'll do it. You know, and it kind of goes to the bottom. It's like for a person to go from zero to we'll give you $2 billion for this, it's truly the word is unbelievable because somebody would offer $100,000, $500,000.
Well, they knew that none of that amount would have mattered. They thought if it was large enough and had real power behind it, because they had money from the collapse of the Soviet Union out of Eastern Europe that they had confiscated through these black programs, and rather criminal tentacles that they were operating. You know, later he left all that behind. So I'm talking early '90s here, not what he did, you know, in the 2000s. But they had the ability to do that, and I think they thought I would be more trouble than they wanted to risk. And I think
because, you know, you're a doctor and you guys are just trouble. It's not the guys who have the technology, they're trouble. It's not anybody else. It's Dr. Stephen Greer, because he's the chosen one. You know, that's why he gets $2 billion. $2 billion. Go, hey, Silverblind, go offer him $2 billion. Okay, we got it. Don't worry, we'll just run it through USAID. Actually, did it exist then? Yeah, it did. It did. Okay, yeah, they could just run it through that. There you go. $2 billion, no problem, man. Just give it to him. Give it to him. Come on in. So Silverblind wanted to give him $2 billion because he's Dr. Stephen Greer, damn it. The savior of mankind.
they really wanted to get people involved in their projects that they could control, because money controls people. And this is why I've always rejected offers of money or position or power, and do to this day. But that's not often done. And I guess they had a reading on who I was as a soul or a person, that it would have to be a big number to move me. And
boy, he could just make up anything, can he? That's why he's the best. See, Ross would be caving right now. I
must say, when he went behind my back to my wife thought he was so nice. And I say, yeah, devils speak with forked tongue, you know, because of my grandmother's Cherokee. But
so you try?
Yeah, you related to Elizabeth Warren?
How to charm your wife?
Yes. Yeah.
And what did he say that maybe your wife came to you and said, baby, you should consider this?
Well, there's a lot of flattery, the usual things that con artists and people like that do.
So no, I have proof. I have proof.
Well, on this, certainly. I mean, but he was an operator. He was someone who was operating with a number of other people who are still around today, some of them, working that issue, trying to divert people who could be a little bit too much trouble. You know, as Gordon Craig said,
better get Stephen Greer on.
We used to publish
on the
White
leash,
Saucer
man.
Review that you know,
too much
Prince
trouble.
Philip and Prince Charles would get. He told me when we interviewed him at his cottage in England, he says, people who are a little too much trouble, we just can erase them, you know, and get rid of them.
Yeah, because when you say $2 billion, it's a lot easier to get rid of you than pay you $2 billion.
Correct.
If they have, if a person has enough power to approve a $2 billion bribe, that
Just
person
take 'em
also
out.
has the same enough power to also eliminate you.
Right.
Yes.
So why waste $2 billion?
Well, and those attempts happened after that. But anyway, I don't want to get too much in.
Look at Patrick. He's like, why do I have this guy on my show? Suddenly I feel like an asshole, right? He's starting to figure, look at that look. That's the same look I get. But he's gonna be a pro and probably go on and make some money on where I'd be like, you're full of shit, dude. You're full of it. I'm fine. Get your wife. Get her in here. I'm gonna put you guys in separate rooms. Get your story straight. Look at him. Look at that look, man. I love it.
Into that part of the person. My personal story is not. It's a tragic story, actually.
It's really tragic.
So there's no point in rehashing 30
It's
years
real
of that.
tragic. I had a bunch of student loan debt, and then I started grifting people on UFOs, and now I'm a multimillionaire. Tragic stories. It's tragic.
We don't have time. I think more important issue is
tragic.
Who has access to that kind of black money, and what will they do?
Oh, you
Keep it
racist.
secret. That's the only reason I brought this up. So everyone thinks, oh well, it's a $50,000 bribe. You know, the amount of assets that this organization, it's a transnational criminal organization. It's not just U.S. It's global, and their long game, which is
I
think about to happen. I'll just say, let me give you a preview. There's two ways this comes out. It comes out truthfully, and it's quite clear that these non-human intelligences and craft are not hostile. If they were hostile with the technologies that they have, we'd be gone. We would have been gone in August of 1945 when we detonated the first atomic bomb. It had been over. However, they have spent a lot of money and time over the last 70 years staging, false alien threats. So
yeah, because that's what you do when you have all the power and all the technology. You stage them, right? And when you can shoot down any alien that comes at you, and you have equivalent technology that can match theirs. Remember that diagram he showed on his own podcast where they have pipes and stuff coming out of him? I mean, this is the thing. He can come across so believable that he sucks people in, right? He gets on podcasts like this, right? And then when you dig into what he's really saying and what he's really talking about, what evidence he actually will produce and try to sell you on, it's complete horse pucky. It's like, you can't believe, you're like, really? This was it the whole time? I'm telling you, man, he's been doing this for decades. Nothing ever comes of this. This whole thing we're going to go into next week about him sending this shit to the White House under Trump. We're going to look into it and get a good laugh at it, I'm sure. But I mean, do you honestly think that any of these people he's talking about is going to read this shit? And why wouldn't he go to Elon? Elon's the man. I mean, I get it. Elon's busy with Doge right now, but he'll be done. He'll be, at the rate he's moving, he'll be done in a couple of years, and we'll have all the waste and stuff accounted for, and hopefully moved away from. But Elon's the star man, not you, Greer. He's the one that's actually in space. He's the one who actually has rockets, who is actually planning trips to the moon and the Mars and other places. Not you. You're just a guy out there going, there are some people out there somewhere, that's all.
Let me start ticking these off for you. The abduction syndrome, totally a staged CIA and other corporate event.
The abduction, but you got abducted. That's your story. That's your root story, is that you were abducted by aliens, and then you went on there and you co-created the CE5 protocols. That is your freaking baseline story, guy.
One of the men that
and by the way, and maybe he's saying that because Ross had that one dude on that a week ago when we went over that last time we were together for the show. It was just baloney, right? Absolute baloney.
Who come forward recently was abducted by a Raytheon triangular craft, he and his wife, and suffered terrible injuries back in 2000, 2001.
Raytheon, the Skunk Works, all these people are doing it.
So that is not in dispute. We can prove what I just said. The animal mutilation.
We can? Let's do it right now.
Everyone here is about. Those are 100% man. Those are human. They're all portrayed as alien.
Do it now.
Then you have the sort of frightening stories of these objects being down in, developing world countries, blowing up a whole village. Oh, that's us. We've done that. Now, how are we doing it? Well, here's just one example of a man.
Oh, he's got papers.
This is in the flash drive I gave you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a craft that Mr. Herrera was on a Marine platoon, and this was in.
Stop. We just saw that. We just saw that in the other we just saw that same picture in the other interview, right? This is not an actual photograph. This is not this was recreated. But he just showed that like it's real. There you go. Another technique of the grift.
2009.
And he flashed it. Now he's putting it away. See, there it is. See.
In Indonesia, they were on a humanitarian mission.
He's gonna tell the goddamn story again. Okay, Levy, where you at? You here? Wanda. Hey, Ozawi, what's up? Yep, right. Snipes on it, man. Snipes on it. Correction. The richest man in America only had $5.9 billion in the 90s. And so General Stubblebine didn't have $2 billion to hand over to Stephen to keep his mouth, his big yap shut. All right, here we go. Here is the, when I interviewed Bahalo Waits, right, he gave me inside info into his backstories that explains everything that he's doing right now. And I got the exclusive on it. All right, so now I got to tell the story. And if I remember, it went something like this. Yep, and that's how it went down, if I remember the story correctly. And that's how he got all the goats, and that's how he's into goats today. Yeah, it explains everything, doesn't it? Yeah. So yeah, again, I got the exclusive interview from Bahalo Waits, and yes, it's all true. As you can see, I brought more evidence tonight than Stephen Greer did. Oh man. A couple more minutes of this, and then I'm going to wrap it up for this week. But as you can see, there's a lot of shit left. So I need to go through this and discern it and see what I should subject you guys to that we haven't already been over like 10 times now with this guy, because he just keeps rehashing the same story. He's getting ready to go into the what? Sorry.
So they go out there. I wanted to bring Mr. Herrera here, but he had a work conflict.
Oh, this one.
And he and his 6 guys went off in a direction, came across in the jungle that object.
He had a work conflict.
This. Now, there's a black and white version. We have a color, but
oh yeah, there you go. That's it. It just just like that. That looked just like the picture.
The point I'm making is
the point you're making is that you made all this up. What is this? Is this his scripty website?
This
Look at those ads. Look at those ads. Look at it. You got 1, 2, 3 ads on the same page like that. Look at that. And there he is, standing proud. And I guess these are the psionic cages right here, the Faraday cages with people in them.
Staffed with some kind of covert human operators without proper military.
He claims that a 6-man unit stumbled upon a okay, we know.
And in the crate there, we found out from this new whistleblower.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Because he was at that conference at the National Press Club in June of
yeah, the one you got made a bunch of money off of. Yeah, I remember that.
When Mr. Herrera disclosed this, he was threatened to be killed by all these guys who were there. And then this crate, he thought
he's not a very good chosen one.
And then this new whistleblower came up and said, "No, those are human assets in there."
Who's the new whistleblower? Jake Barber. Thank you for that, Levy. You connected some pieces tonight. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
These are people that
we knew that's probably who he's talking about, but hearing him actually come out and talk about being at the conference, and that situation there was the thing, right? That's good. That's a great connection.
Taken to be trained as a psionic operator, and a psionic operator is someone who they pump them up full of drugs.
You know, the whole time they never said nothing about no psionics.
Most of them end up dying or end up in a coma. Some of them survive, and they're used to use their, what I was talking about before, consciousness and thought to latch onto the guidance systems of a non-human craft. And people say,
I know like Patrick Bet Davis to be pretty basic.
You're not dealing with a Boeing 777. You're dealing
with
how
this is really sitting with them.
Hundreds of thousands of years more advanced with technologies commensurate to having socially, spiritually, and technologically evolved for that long and not blown themselves up like we're about to. So those
by the way, guys, we're about to blow ourselves up. This is Dr. Stephen Greer, quote unquote,
are at that point where they can have thought, consciousness, mind, technology interface as easily as you and I pick up a cell phone and talk, which would have been magic. You know, one thing I tell people, step out of this little slice of time we're in and realize if you were to go back to Thomas Jefferson and show them your smartphone and video conference someone, well, if you were in Salem, Massachusetts, you'd be burned at the stake as a witch because it would look like, witchcraft. To us, it's an everyday thing. Flipping on a light switch, no one thinks about it. It'd be magic to someone 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So imagine, now let's extrapolate that technology curve into the future.
Yeah.
A few 100,000 or a million years. What do you think you're going to have? You're not going to have what everyone's expecting. And this is the blind spot of scientists, frankly. They're always looking at right now or in the rear view mirror. And when you're encountering a civilization's non-human intelligence is this advanced.
Guys, hook it up.
You've got to put everything you know
where you're at
on a shelf because we don't know
anything. Good time, right?
We're like half a step out of the jungle scientifically. But these covert engineering programs that started studying this back in the 40s and 50s, they have all this. I mean, they have figured all that part of it out. And however much you think is sitting out there in the desert, it's 100 times more. You know, Ben Rich, you remember Ben Rich? He was the director, the president of the Lockheed Skunk Works. So the week he died, he had a conversation with a colleague of mine. Zebra alert. Zebra alert. Zebra alert. Zebra alert. Zebra alert. Zebra alert.
Oh, it's a real one, guys. Real one.
Zebra alert. Kill everyone in there. Zebra alert. Kill everyone in there. Zebra alert. Kill everyone in there. Zebra alert. Kill everyone in there.
Mission accomplished.
Hello, Moscow. Hello. Yeah, we had a zebra alert go up here. We're watching Stephen Greer interview here. He must have said something that tripped the alarm. We had a full scale zebra alert. You guys see anything out there? Do you know what the hell's going on? You don't what? Don't call back. Why? Hold on. This is protocol. I'm supposed to call you guys and ask you what's going on and what the hell was that, and then you're supposed to tell me something, and then we can stand down the zebra alert. I don't think we had too many casualties this time. It looks like some people might have gotten taken a few bullets, but I think they're going to be all right. But yeah. So what was that? Was it okay? Everything's fine. Well, okay. All right. So we'll stand down. All right. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you again soon, I guess. All right. Bye. All right. Nothing to worry about there. Zebra alert, stand down. All good. Go ahead and get us back into space here. Where all the aliens come from. All right. We're going to get back to the show here and wrap this thing up with zebra alert. Now, here is that look again from Mr. Bet Davis. Now, Mr. Bet Davis, you've had this guy on 3 times now. So, I'm just wondering why is it taking so long for you to figure out that he's full of shit? Because I think you're figuring it out. I really think that you're figuring out that he's full of it, right? All right. Well, let's get a few more words in, and we're wrapping it up here real shortly, and then we'll get to the next part another day, I guess. Who knows what will happen between now and then? But I just wonder. I wonder about Patrick. I mean, that's why I always was like, man, I hope if I got some of these big streamers on, they tell me some inside secrets. Like, look, you're not supposed to do this. You got to do that. Yeah, a lot of people are out there bullshitting, but you shouldn't call them on it. If you do this, then, you'll get more views or something. I don't know.
Goodall is a very renowned aerospace historian and a mainstream author. And Ben Rich and he knew each other. So he called him
the
up.
Ben Rich story again.
Very close to death, had cancer. And Ben Rich says he asks, well, what do you really have out there in the desert? And Ben Rich says, anything you can imagine. Anything you've seen on Star Trek or Star Wars.
Star Wars.
We've already done it.
We've already
it's
done
out there
it.
in the desert. He says, but not Area 51. He was talking about in the underground facilities connected to this. So what that opening is connects to a place called the Anthill, which is to the east out in the desert further, and goes underground through a series of bases. They're known as STIFs, subterranean facilities. Some people call them DUMBs, deep underground military bases. And they're connected with underground tunnels. I actually have in my archive the patent for the machine that made those tunnels that are made by various contractors like Bechtel Corporation and some others that I know. So those facilities have been studying in reverse engineering ET tech, alien tech, whatever you want to call it, for 70 years. They've also had trillions of dollars that the U.S. government doesn't know has been going into that.
Brilliant.
And I will say, of all the scientists I've...
Oh, you know what? We're going to figure it out, Stephen. We got this guy called Elon Musk now, and he's going after this group called USAID that's been doing all that stuff, right? Oh, we're going to figure it out. And we'll figure it out if it's really true. We'll figure it out
from any academic institution. The scientists that get picked out of high school or college working on this technology, this is a Raytheon triangle.
It's a Raytheon triangle. Oh, Raytheon.
They are the brightest, most accomplished scientists, highest IQ I've ever met, period.
You've met them all.
You're not going to see them at MIT and Harvard. Now,
no,
why won't you? Where do they recruit them from?
They identify them sometimes in early, through IQ tests and other special abilities and talents programs. And then, they're
I can do all this shit.
Then they get kind of pulled over in that direction. And by the way, your top special forces guys that I know, like Jake Barber, very, very, very incredibly smart guy. He was identified as a specially gifted person as a young man, and eventually got moved into the special forces and the Delta Force, Air Force, and then emerged as a contractor.
Guys, is he Delta Force? Has he mentioned that he was Delta Force at any point during any of this? Is Jake Barber Delta Force? Maybe you've watched some other interviews with this guy on there. Has he ever mentioned he's Delta Force? Greer likes to throw around this Delta Force shit like, you wouldn't believe. Like Ross Coulthart and the abduction guy who turned his childhood dream into an alien abduction a few years ago. And he said that he was a big time guy in Delta Force too. And he goes, no, I was just tolerated. I wasn't big time guy,
What they used to call a NOC, a non-official cover, for the intelligence community interfacing with the partner.
NOC, Network Operations Center. That's what NOC means. non-operational cover. He just makes shit up as he goes.
Over in the aerospace.
That may be true, but
he was assigned to the aerospace corporations, but also as an intelligence guy. And I know what agency he was.
He's a helicopter pilot who picked up crash retrieval stuff, right? And he's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu or something. And he's been in the military, but he flies helicopters, dude.
So that is how it's done. But he was identified as a relatively young man, is very incredibly gifted, and he is.
Jake, in his own words, tells you that his whole career was about flying helicopters.
So the best of your Green Beret, Special Forces, Navy SEAL guys are not only.
It just mixes them all together. You know what? You're just all of the things. You're all of them. You get it's like the Boy Scouts. It's like the Boy Scouts. You just get a badge in it, right? And you just want to get your next badge. I got my Green Beret badge. So I'm going to get my Navy SEAL badge. I'm going to get my Delta Force badge. I don't know what they call the goddamn. They have Special Forces and Space Force. They should. They call them Starship Troopers. I'm going to get my Starship Trooper badge. I'm going to get my what am I missing here, guys? Green Beret, or my Army Ranger badge. I need to get all of them, and then I'll be Super Soldier. I'll get my Super Soldier badge because I'll be all of the Special Forces blended into one. I think that wasn't Rambo that? I don't know. He was red team. Oh man. Actually, he was only a helicopter mechanic officially.
Amazing warriors. But the top tier of them are also very bright and very accomplished. So the same thing happens with your scientists that they want to grab up.
What is this name of the place you were talking about? I want to go to the Jake Barber clip. What is the name of the place? The Anthill Lockheed, that picture that you showed. What's the name of it if Rob wanted to just search for it?
Well, this is the, I think the Howland, it's just the
Lockheed Skunk Works. That's my favorite thing to talk about.
Skunk Works test range.
It's a test range. It's for skunks.
Lockheed Concourse.
Skunk Works. Lockheed Skunk Works. So I've
only said it a million times, Patrick. Weren't you listening?
It's an RCS range. It's a range where they test. And RCS. I have some other images we can give you where you'll see
they all made from AI.
Like a runway, right? You got a runway back here at this jetport. Mm-hmm. It's not a runway. If you look at, there are diamonds on what looks like a runway. That's where the man-made anti-gravity craft.
The anti-gravs
come up out of the ground, hover over the diamond, and then they're struck with certain directional energy weapons to see how sturdy they are and how stable they are. And most of them are hardened enough, but occasionally one goes down.
Is that what you're talking about right there?
Correct.
Oh yeah, is that what that is? Well, this looks like just normal shit. What are we talking about here? This stuff right here? Is this what you're talking about?
So you see those diamonds? That is not a runway. So they come up and they float over those diamonds at various distances. And so that's where you test these objects. And they're electromagnetic, meaning they're not conventional.
That's why you need to fly drones over them, because you can't use these pictures anymore.
Propulsion system.
Look, there's the antenna. The antenna's right there. Look.
So there's no rockets, there's no jets, etc. I will give you the date when we mastered gravity control.
I'll give it to us.
It was October 1954. So I wasn't born yet.
1954.
So in the elite engineering and contracting world,
don't lose that.
These have been in various stages of development, 40s and 50s, but they mastered. Let's call the gyro. So that if you're in some of the early UFO film footage you see, it looks like the thing is like a leaf falling. It's because that was a man-made one that wasn't stable. It wasn't alien. But once they mastered gravity control, then they became stable. And by the late 1950s, early 60s, they started being used in special projects.
Oh, illegal the 60s, yeah. Back in the days of Fonzie and shit. I remember that. Yeah. I mean, Fonzie, I think he used that. He used the anti-gravity to jump over the shark, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he did. I think his water skis had anti-gravity on them.
Eisenhower lost control of this whole enterprise. Eisenhower was the one that...
Make sure you tell us what he said in his exit speech, because nobody's ever heard it before about beware the military industrial complex. Make sure you say that, okay? I haven't seen this.
That got deceived. And then ultimately, on his farewell address, Eisenhower said, beware the military industrial complex. He was...
I've been doing this too long. It's because I have the gift, Stephen. I have the gift of psionics and CE5 protocol. I can literally use my mind to predict the future. I'm doing it every night here. Did you see? I am an indigo child. I am a chosen star seed. I am a revolutionary. I am a visionary. I am all the things. And there's a 2-star general out there that better bring me $5 billion to shut my mouth, or I'm going to tell it all. And I'm going to get in touch with the aliens. That's right. I sure am. I'm gonna get in touch with those goddamn aliens. And boy, then you're gonna be in trouble, because I'm gonna tell them to bring the anti-EMP shields with them this time, and they won't get shot down anymore. How about that? You like that? You like that?
Talking mostly about this kind of operation that he couldn't talk about publicly. Jack Kennedy.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. All right, so because we're at 3 hours and Wolfram needs to get his beauty sleep. All right, and that's the way we do it here. Hang on one second, I gotta fix something here. Oh my God, don't freak out. Don't freak out, anybody. Don't freak out. Hold on, I'll change it back. I know that's scaring some people right now. All right, let me go back to this one. Okay, there we go. It's okay. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Don't freak out. Greer previews all stories never ending. Yeah, he really is a never ending story. Yeah, the prodigal son, Mork was on Happy Days. That's a good point. That's a good point. And that's when anti-grav, there was the predictive programming. It was the CIA getting involved with Mork and Mindy to let us know that eggs have arrived and anti-gravity technology is here. And Mork represented the psionic children, like the indigo children, right? And he was trapped inside the egg. And that's what it was all about. And that really was, if you look into the producers of that show, they're all wild UFO stuff. Yeah. And Jonathan Winters, as the aging baby who aged backwards, I guess turned to a sperm eventually. I don't know. I have no idea. But anyways, yeah, we will be back with more of this and more of that next week. We will have the 320 pages. We're not going to read every page. You don't want to listen to me read 320 pages. I guarantee that. So we will use technology and advancements, not as good as these guys that Greer knows about, but kind of good, not bad for us here in 2025, to help us summarize that ungodly book of bullshit, right? And I will do what I can to use my psionic CE5 indigo child psychic kinesis abilities to present it in such a way that it will be digestible within 3 hours. And then I'm going to watch the rest of this interview. I almost feel like if you guys, no. I was going to say, if you guys want to, we could watch the rest of this interview in Discord and I'll sit there and yap about it, but I ain't going to do that. I'll watch it on my own and I'll make timestamp. I'll do like timestamps or something, and we'll jump around and I will and then we'll kind of get through this. Because how much is left? Well, there's an hour left. That's usually about what we do on the interviews. I usually keep it at about an hour. You will have it. We'll all need to tune to. Yeah, psychonically. That's the thing about me is I can actually help other people do it. See that now in the past they had to get people out of the jungle that have been affected by bad weather, right? But now I'm the evolution. I'm the next stage of evolution in this. And what I can do is I can now use my abilities to transfer a little bit of my ability into you so that you can do it too. Right. And then we can all be doing it together. And that's how we're going to resist. Actually, Stephen doesn't know this yet because, well, like I said, the aliens aren't really getting along with him these days. They feel like he may have been compromised or he's just kind of lost it. Too many sonic weapons coming into his head, and flying over too many black sites or something. I don't know, but they don't feel confident that the person they picked as a saver back in the 70s is going to get the job done. I mean, they've given them 70 years to get it done, or no, I'm sorry, 60, 50 years to get it done. He just doesn't seem to be able to do it. And so they, so they picked me, and I'm going to take a spot. And with that, I'm going to get his money too, so that I can continue the operations here. So I'm about $6.6 million plus inflation, future costs kind of thing. So, probably need about 12 million. I need about 12 million to get this going. But if you guys want the earth saved, right, you don't want to be slaves to the bad guys, then you better send some money. I mean, I'm talking about, I need operations. I need to rent a room at the Marriott. So I have a big conference at the table. I need to get a suit, a new jacket, so I can go on big talk shows and talk about how I'm the new chosen one, and I'm taking over where Stephen Greer failed, and I'm going to be taking over and moving this thing and finally getting it done, finally get the job done, because that's what I do here. I finish things, right? I'm the closer. I'm going to close the deal. That's what I'm going to do. All right. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's the way it's going to be, and we're going to like it. All right. So anyways, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I really do appreciate each and every one of you every week tuning in. This has been a lot of fun, and we will defeat the bad guys no matter what it takes. All right. And hope you will join us again next week on this journey into the wild imaginations of conspiratainment entertainers and their wacky outtakes. They're unbelievable stories, and we will have a great time doing it. I will be back tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, for Winning Tonight with more stuff. We got some more press conferences going on. I don't know. The really short White House press conference. There's some other stuff I want to get into. Jeff Alstoff, thank you, Wolfram, for this. Did an analysis on the helicopter plane crash. We'll combine that with some other stuff. We'll take a look at that. I didn't really want to get into it until there's more information on it, and I'll do a brief segment on that, as well as looking at some of the other things that are going on with U.S. aid. And the big reveal today is that they were buying left-wing propaganda subscriptions for everybody at a high cost to the taxpayers. I mean, a high cost. And U.S. government spending.gov, it's a website where you can go look up things like that. That's out there. I don't know how long it's been out there or how accurate it's been, but now it seems to be the place to go to do it. So we're going to look at some stories that have to do with that as well as many other great things. We'll laugh, we'll cry, we'll have the best time ever together. One big happy family, winning reality together. That's what we do here. Thanks again so much for being here. And I appreciate each and every one of you that support the channel through super chats and through memberships and through just being here and giving a thumbs up and loving everybody and loving everything we're doing here. I appreciate it so much. Whether you're on Rumble, X, or YouTube, or rewatching it, whatever parts BitChute uploads. Sometimes BitChute cuts my shows off. Remember, if you're watching this on BitChute, in fact, this part probably will get cut off. But if you happen to see it, remember, you can always come and join us over here on YouTube and Rumble. If you don't like YouTube, go to Rumble. You'll meet some really great people and have a really great time, I promise. All right, guys. Without further ado, let's get on out of here. Everybody out there, much love to each and every one of you. Stay based. And hold on, make sure I got this right here. I got to do this outro a special way. You know what I'm saying? Stay based and keep on winning.
This is a friendship that'll never